of $11,277,000.
Yes, that's real.
Would be reduced to the $8,300,000 principal sum if we honor our promise to repay. Now, the only way that the village is going to be able to repay this debt is through a property tax levy, and the amount that would be necessary to handle the debt service is roughly in the neighborhood of the line item that's listed as debt service, which is $1.1 million. So that's the direction we're going. The only way that this board can handle repaying this debt is by a property tax levy, which would cover the debt service column. Let me emphasize, these are not exact numbers, but I took an estimate of what I expect the total obligation to the city of Chicago to be relatively close in time. So that's, do the board members have any question on that?
I have a question, Attorney Murphy. Can you explain to the residents, because I'm sure there's some here that don't understand what the tax levy is. Can you explain to them what the city of Chicago is asking by taking the tax levy when we receive it in the second installment?
Well, what the village board is going to have to do is, in addition to what you levy ordinarily for property taxes, you're going to have to levy this $1.1 million amount for at least 7 or 8 years, over and above everything you need for other governmental services. The only way to repay this is by way of a debt service levy, and the only way you do that is by, come fall, when it's time to pass your tax levy, is to add to your levy an amount equal to this debt service column. The village has no other funding sources.
Attorney Murphy, for clarification, I saw a news publication where a couple of the trustees here blamed me for this debt. Can you clarify that, where the debt came from?
Please turn to the first page of the 2-page handout, everybody. In simplest terms, the village's investment into, this is a memo that I prepared for the client. In simplest terms, the investment of public funds, both on a $30 million bond issue and general operating for the Dorchester, has been a disaster. As you can see from the first page, over the year, the Dorchester has hemorrhaged money and has had to be subsidized over the years from the general fund to the tune of $13 million. We've talked about the Melanie, and over the same several years, more than a decade, as long as it's been in operation, the village's general fund has had to subsidize the Melanie to the tune of $4.7 million. So between these two ventures, Dorchester and Melanie, almost $18 million has gone out the door from the village's general fund to these two special operating funds. So when I use the term disaster, I mean disaster. Now, we've had, over the same period of time, in order to pay its bills from year to year, again, over probably however long the Dorchester's been in village hands, 12 to 15 years, the village has borrowed money, the general fund has borrowed money from the water fund. And the total amount that the village has borrowed from the water fund to the general fund is almost $9 million. And that has resulted in the village's inability to pay the water bills because we've had to keep Dorchester and Melanie alive as long as we own those two operations. And that has resulted in terms in where we are now with owing the city of Chicago almost $8 million for water. I can't overemphasize the importance of this problem, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who have read the papers or watch TV have seen what has happened with the city of Harvey, where Harvey had this type of a problem, but they never came to grips with it, and they kept putting the city of Chicago off to the tune of in excess to $20 million that Harvey owes the city of Chicago for water that Harvey was using for other purposes. Finally, the court has ordered that the Harvey water system be turned over to a receiver, which is like a trustee in bankruptcy. So the city of Harvey no longer operates the Harvey water system. It's under the control of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and you can imagine all of the additional accountant fees, receivers fees, lawyers fees that go into a court-ordered receivership. The village needs to avoid that Harvey situation at all costs, and the only way the village board can do that is by way of recognizing this problem and dealing with it now, and the only way we can deal with it now is by raising additional funds, and the only realistic way of raising additional funds is with the property tax levy.
Now, Attorney Murphy, I want you to add, or make a comment on this, because like I said, there's been some misinformation about me being responsible for this matter. Now, in order for money to be given out of the general fund to support these other matters, what does it have to do?
Every single expenditure of money from the village requires board action.
So how am I responsible for this matter?
There's no individual responsibility from your office. These are expenditures and transfers that were made by village boards for the last 12 to 15 years. These were monthly expenditures, paying bills to a Dorchester that drowned the village in debt.
Which included some of these board members that made approval for it.
I mean, every expenditure was approved by board action.
Thank you for your clarification. Where are we at? Discussion or? Okay.
Thank you, Attorney Murphy, for the update with the and the next hearing is what date is that, so we can be there?
It's a status. Well, let me back up. It's not going to be a renewed settlement conference. It's going to be a status conference on a week from today, actually.
Okay.
In the morning, and I'm going to report to the court unless I hear otherwise that the village wants to move forward with this type of repayment plan.
And it's the same time as the previous one?
No, the previous one was in the afternoon. This is I'll let you know, it's like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. It's an AM status report.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the override of a mayoral veto, ordinance number 18-007, hearing procedure to contest water bill. Trustee Muhammad.
I make a motion override of mayoral veto ordinance number 18-007.
I second.
It's been motioned and seconded. It's been motioned by Trustee Muhammad and seconded by Trustee Denton. Any discussion on this? The reason for my veto on this was to, here again, they want to set up a committee to contest water bills. If we go back to August of last year, and prior to that, the majority of our water bills, or the water bills in the city, village of Dalton, have been estimated. So what I wanted to do was hire more water meter readers so we can get more accurate readings from the water meters. That was, I don't know, was tabled or whatever. And once you start getting accurate, some people had estimated bills from years, and once you start getting accurate readings, some of those bills increased. So we had a number of complaints. Well, I've always had a water bill that was $85 or whatever the case may be, but sometimes circumstances change when things wear out in the toilet or faucets are left running and things like that. So, with all the complaints and everything, they want to put in a committee to say yay or nay. Whether or not it's approved or people to come in to contest the water bills, the village has to pay the water. Now, Janice right there, and the water department have sat with a number of residents that had issues with the water bills, and for the most part, they have been resolved. And the reason for my veto is I just think this is another committee process that is going to take anything to get done. So, but it's up to the board whether they want to pass it or not. Any more discussion? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
4 again. That motion passes. Okay. I'd like to know how it's going to be structured, who's going to be on the committee, and how the determination going to be to say yay and nay. So anyway, next thing on the agenda is new business. Ordinance number 18-010, adopting an appropriation and budget ordinance for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Mayor, can we move that item to A? Mayor, can we move item A to H and H to A, reciprocate those two, please, and leave that at the end?
I would like to make a motion to table.
There's a motion to table the budget.
That's not going to happen.
And there's a second. Especially since.
It's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, well, not only, that's true. Especially since this new amendment with the elimination of certain employees and services was presented just tonight.
Yeah, we can have a special meeting. We can do it Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yeah. And also, our finance director is not here for her to chime in on certain items. She's not returning from vacation until Wednesday.
There's been a motion to table. There's no discussion. We should take the vote according to Robert's rules, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right. There's also a method of being out of order too.
There's a motion on the floor to table.
You're out of order. You're out of order, Trustee Muhammad. Okay. Everybody can hear what's on the floor. Okay. So at any rate, I would suggest this board to table this budget, especially without the finance director here putting in her she presented her budget without her being here to explain certain items. Take the roll.
On the motion to table, Trustee Muhammad.
No.
Trustee Stubbs.
No.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
No.
Trustee Pearson.
No.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
You H, you're next.
So y'all be here at 1 o'clock in the
So,
morning.
Mayor, can we reciprocate those, item A of the, to be reciprocated with H, which is the fountain naming, I believe?
No.
Okay.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is, oh yeah, we got to do the budget line by line.
That's
Mayor,
why I
can we
prefer
go through the rest of the agenda, then come back to A? That way we can go to B now?
That's what I just
that
asked.
way we
you
can-
No,
to
you asked to
recognize.
move an item up and move that down. I'm asking just to go to B.
Go to what?
B.
B, oh yeah, that's where I'm going.
Oh, okay.
It's cute.
Okay. We want to get this other business taken care of, and then we'll come back to A, and those of you that want to be here at 1 o'clock, we could go through this stuff line by line. All right, next thing on the agenda is ordinance number 18-011, regulation of small wireless facilities. You have the document for that? Okay. Okay. This is a requirement by state law. An ordinance amending Title 7, Public Ways and Properties of the Village of Dalton Village Code to add a new Chapter 7, Regulation of Small Wireless Facilities thereto. And for time's sake, I'm not going to read all this. It's pretty thick. Did the trustees get a copy of this? Mm-hmm. All the trustees have a copy of this. They had time to review it. Can I get a motion to approve this?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 18-011.
Second.
Okay, I'm not sure who seconded it quick first. We'll go with Trustee Henry. It's a motion to approve it. Seconded by Trustee Henry. Any discussion on this? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next thing on the item is item C, ordinance. Increase of housing fees by Trustee Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a committee meeting, I'll give you the date.
Last week.
No, that's not the one they showed up to.
Oh.
This one was March 26th of 2018, and we all agreed to increase the fees as follows. Judicial D going to 200.
I move to table this item to the next regular village board meeting.
Second.
Again, here we go. Nothing gets accomplished. We need revenue, but they want to attach the fees to the
Mayor,
residents.
Trustee.
There's a table
Trustee.
on the floor.
There's a trustee. Just take a vote on it. Go ahead.
On the motion to table by Trustee
You agreed
Pearson,
to the increase.
second by Trustee Stubbs. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Shame.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Definitely no.
Okay. 4-2. Motion
no.
carries. Next thing on the agenda is approval of request for proposal for housing rehabilitation and development. Trustee Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. This is what we talked about at the previous committee meeting that my board didn't show up to.
I move to table this item to the next regular board meeting.
Most of you guys are here because you want to
Second.
talk about BP Capital. This is on the agenda so we can open it up so more people can come in and bid. We did not do a bid. We gave it to one company, you guys. So right now I'm putting it out so anybody can come and bid on it. Now, we have residents
Mayor,
that's
there's a
here
table
today
on the
that would
floor.
like to speak on behalf of the situation with BP Capital and why they should not be into our community. So, Mayor, if you don't mind, can we allow people to speak in regards to the situation?
Trustee-
Because I had a committee meeting.
Trustee
To
Henry.
discuss this, so we didn't have to do all this here. But my board did not show up.
Trustee Henry.
Yes.
Trustee Henry. Okay. All right. I'm advised by the attorney. The motion is tabled. I think you got enough out. And at the citizens' address, maybe they can address some of that. Okay. So right now, it is a table on the table on this motion. And can we get a roll call?
And the second was by
Something fishy with that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Did anybody
Stubbs.
second it? Trustee Stubbs.
Trustee Denton.
I said it.
Okay, Trustee Denton or Trustee Stubbs, who would like the honors?
Trustee Stubbs.
Okay. On the motion to table, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
No.
Sound like a recording.
Broken record.
But at any rate, that motion carries too. Next thing on the agenda is a refund of the vehicle sticker late fee charges for July 1st through the 15th, 2018. Trustee Henry.
Thank you. Let's see if you guys can get money back. I put this on the agenda because you guys was getting charged double, which the stickers was $40. You guys got charged $80. Now, I sent the email out to the board asking them to honor the 15-day grace period. There was a mistake put on the website stating that the grace period was to the 15th, but he cleared it up and said it was to the 1st. The 1st being a Sunday, that means you guys came in on the 2nd, which was that Monday. So I want to give you guys your money back for paying double. That's what I'm trying to accomplish tonight. So I would like to make a motion to refund village stickers to the residents of Dalton.
I second.
Okay. It's been motioned to, you don't want to refund the stickers, you want to refund the money.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. late fee. And it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure this board agrees wholeheartedly with Trustee Henyard, but I think what we need to put in place is to amend the previous ordinance by adding the language of the grace period being from July 1st to the 15th, and that should be added into the amended, I think it's 18005.
We'll have to bring that back because we don't have the order.
Yeah, 'cause
Correct.
it's not even here, so maybe, I mean, we could take a consensus vote tonight, I'm guessing, and then maybe for the next board meeting to bring the agenda, on the agenda, the ordinance.
Well, you can handle the refund, right now.
Well, you got two refunds going on. We got a refund for the people who have stickers, and you also have a refund for the police officers who ticketed persons who did not have their stickers, and that was and so those are two refunds that we need to make sure we got clarity
Well, on the police, I don't know if those tickets have gone to adjudication yet.
Right.
Yeah, we've gotten information from the chief. It's approximately $8,000 that would be owed to the residents of individuals who had violated that.
Is there any objection from the board to include in the motion voiding those tickets?
Those tickets would have to been written after July 1st. So do they come to court? Is there a court date prior to today's date that those tickets would have been brought before a judge?
No. Chief Collins.
We would have to manually go through all the tickets to see where they are in the system.
Okay, so rather than say we owe them $8,000, if we notify the court that any ticket that was issued after, if you don't catch them, be able to nolly them or void them, notify the court if those tickets was issued after July 1st, between July 1st and July 15th, they can just throw them out in court. So we need to find out those tickets that were written after July 1st, when was the court date with the police officers and the crossing guards?
I'd have to research when the actual court date was, or even if there's a update, additional court date for those that didn't come to court the first time.
Yeah. We usually, when a ticket is written, I know from my experience, it's usually you get a month or so. Yeah. So, so unless it was the court date was within the last 3 or 4 business days, then the court date should be coming up, and maybe we can catch it or notify. When's the traffic court, on Thursdays?
Yes, but also we would have to go through for those that have already paid their tickets to, that
yes,
elected
right.
not to go to court.
Right, you're correct. Okay, so however you want to handle this in regards to, well, that's a water department function on some of the cases to do the paperwork and the recount to make the accurate refunds.
I think for purposes of tonight, all the board needs to do is to approve a motion making whole or returning the penalty amount for all individuals who either paid it or were ticketed for it for violations occurring between July 1 and July 15.
Yes.
And let staff administer it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I would suggest that if the board passes this, to make it clear to those that are entitled to a refund, to give the accounting process time to make it right. Not that it approved tonight and tomorrow shows up and says, hey, you owe me $40.
Right.
Because the accounting processes may be kind of lengthy.
I mean, it's,
you know what I mean?
It's a bill that's in competition with all the other bills the village has. It's just people just got to wait for their refund.
Yeah.
Can I be recognized, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Okay, as I've stated, I've talked with the police department and the payment center. We're talking about approximately $33,000, which that money cannot come out of the general fund. I want to make sure that the board will approve that money come out of the sales of the Dorchester, so it doesn't affect the general fund.
Sales of the Dorchester. Where did it, when the money was collected, where did it go? So that's where it should come, that's where it should be refunded from.
Well, that money was in the general fund, and as you know, if that happened July 1st through the 7th, that money is more than likely, according to this warrant list, we paid almost $800-something thousand, and I'm sure between the 1st and the 15th, and it is August 6th, that money's gone.
Well, go ahead, Trustee.
We could probably take it out of that fund, but it would have to go back into the Dorchester fund once the general fund could pay it.
How much is available in the Dorchester fund?
American
$2 million.
None of that money's been spent?
No.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Trustee House.
If I may, I think if we just vote to do the refund, and then we could let the finance director kind of advise on which direction.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
If I could, Mayor, after discussion with Ms. Redmond, those monies, and she agreed that that money should come out of the fund for the Dorchester, which would not affect our budget, and we are passing a budget tonight, and a $33,000 is a big hit. So again, we can table that for Ms. Redmond when she returns, but I think right now, as the attorney stated, we can get a consensus now, but the ordinance has to be put in place so next year we don't have the same issue, because the ordinance still stands, that it ends on June 31st.
America,
or 30th.
Go ahead.
Chief, on the email you gave us, there was 13 vehicles that paid administrative fees. What does that mean?
When we make arrests, we have an ordinance in place that there's an administrative hold on the vehicle. For instance, if someone is arrested for driving while their license is suspended, there's a $500 hold on the vehicle that they have to pay that goes directly to the village.
So is that where you got total cash $8,000? That's not including the $245 parking tickets?
No, that's a separate issue. When people get their car out of from the tow yard, they have to pay the administrative fee before they get their car, and that money goes to the village. It's collected at the payment center.
So those 13 vehicles that paid that $8,000, there was any of it due to the them not having their city sticker?
No, that has nothing to do with it. It's either a misdemeanor arrest or certain village ordinance violations.
Okay, so that they wouldn't have to get that refunded, do you?
No, that has nothing to do with the village sticker.
The 245 parking citations, any idea what that dollar amount is?
That depends on the citation. For instance, a handicap would be $250. Another ticket would be $25 or $50. It just depends on the violation.
So you would have to go through them to find out how much of that is just parking. I mean, there's no city sticker violation.
Right. It would have to be gone through.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, can we go back to the motion that I put on the floor?
I'm sorry. What was that, Trustee?
Can we go back to the motion to approve the refund?
Yeah.
Because this is just...
Okay, we're in discussion. I mean, if there's no more discussion, we want some clarification on it. Just take the roll then.
On the motion by Trustee Henyard, second by Trustee Denton. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Please, if you're watching this or you're here tonight, allow the county portion to take its course. Next thing on the agenda is F, committee chair change of planning committee, and this is put on by Trustee Pearson.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to move Trustee Stubbs to chair the planning committee.
Aye. Second.
Wow. Wow. Come on, we in this discussion. Let's go.
Okay, all right. There's a motion on the floor, and there's a second to remove committee chair Henyard because she is fallen out of grace with the four. from her committee.
Yes.
So it's discussion time now, and go ahead, Trustee Henry.
Thank you. Residents, you guys know me. I've always spoken up, spoken out. I don't sit with one particular person on this board. If it's wrong, you're going to hear my mouth. If they right, I roll with them. It don't matter if it come from the mayor department or if it come from, what you call them, Fantastic Four. It doesn't matter. I roll with what's right for the people. That's what I advocate for. So my issue is, all of a sudden, now that I'm bringing up BP Capital and exposing them for what they voting for, now all of a sudden they want to remove me as chair. Where they do that at? Now, when you want to remove somebody as chair, have facts. Have a reason for why you're removing them. Have a reason, like how we removed Muhammad when he was chair over Melanie's because he was having strip parties at Melanie's Fitness. That's a reason to remove a person. But you removing me because you upset with me. You mad because I'm exposing BP Capital. I have a problem with that, residents. They should not be here in our community, period, point blank. Now, when y'all hear the other testimonies, when they come up to this podium and they tell y'all what it is, y'all are here from other communities that they done did this in and they got a problem with. So I will advise this board not to support this nutball stuff or removing me as chair of housing that I've been over for the last 5 years. I am the senior trustee. I am the youngest trustee. I've been here forever. I grew up in this community and I advocate for what's right, not what's wrong, or not just because I want to be cool or be in the in crowd. I don't roll with the get along. I will stand alone by myself if I have to, because guess what? My voice is louder than anybody's out here. Y'all know that. I just won an election and I won off of my ticket. The only person that won off of my ticket. So if them numbers don't speak for themselves, I'm gonna show y'all when this next election come up. Watch what I tell you. And that's for the record.
Okay, Officer Guest, thank you for your concern here. But when these residents are kind of supportive of this, I can feel their joy. Yeah. So I'm going to say this. Now, I am happy to have Trustee Henry's support on a number of issues lately. The majority of her tenure here as a trustee has been against me. But I think this is a total disrespect when someone that holds a committee meeting and the other committee members all of a sudden get sick.
Mayor, first let me state.
You're out of order. You're out of order. You're out of order. You're out of. You are. I'm sorry. You're right.
I'm gonna let you
You're
know.
right. You're right.
You did not. Daughter,
you did not get sick. You did not. You did not get sick.
She is dying, and I'm gonna save my daughter, just like I gave you the comfort about your mother.
Okay.
And my deepest sympathy.
Okay.
This is my daughter.
Okay.
And she is
going by
from cancer. Understand? And yes, I was trying to get her to John Hopkins that day or Mayo Clinic, and I spent time at the airport. So you and Tiffany can beat me up, but I'm going to take care of my family.
And I applaud you for that.
Understand that.
I applaud you for that, and you should take care of your family. You should take care of your family.
That's my daughter.
The trustee told me that you called her to adjust the time because you were getting off work late.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm just going.
What I told her. I told her I was going to be at O'Hare, and I didn't think I could make it back, and she changed the time to try to accommodate me.
Okay.
But I was at the airport longer than I anticipated.
Okay, I'm just going by the information I got.
And yes, I'm going to take care of my daughter.
And you should.
42 years old, and she's got stage 4 pancreatic cancer and stage 4 liver cancer. And she's sick.
Trustee.
Sir.
You have my sympathy, and I pray for your daughter. I'm going by the information that I received.
And I'm not looking for sympathy.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Trustee
Whoever
Henry
made that comment.
Trustee Henry.
And you know that, and you just are voting.
I didn't say I was looking for your
Trustee. Trustee.
I don't need
Elizabeth. Okay, Trustee Henry, you had any further?
I will hope that this board would reconsider this. I will hope that people just don't give their vote just to get along. Again, I stated for the record, if I did something, I understand why I'm being removed. I haven't done anything but spoke the truth. So if I can have your support, especially coming from Trustee Denton, I will respect that more than anything than just voting with the 4, just because it feels right. Thank you.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Go ahead.
I just have to say this.
You the flip vote. No matter what you think. One thing I'm gonna tell you about this board. If it's for you guys, and it's one person that can make or break a team. Period. You don't have to always go with the team. Period. And that's all I'm trying to make sure I educate people that's new up here. And the 2 newbies are Trustee Den and Trustee House. But you got to have your own voice. You can't just vote with them just because they sat and set you down and said, I don't need your vote today. It got to make sense. You have to live with that at the end of the day. I don't care if they like me or not. I'm still going to speak on what I need to speak on. Now, if I'm a roll with it, I'm a roll with it. If I'm not, I'm not. So that's all I asked of her. I call everybody up here. No one picks up my call. I call you, Trustee. I reached out because I said you should hear both sides. Don't just listen to one side. If they tell you something, it's like they brainwash you. They telling you something, and then you just roll with it, but you don't hear my side. So when I have something on the agenda, I'm talking about the agenda. I'm not talking like we finna be girlfriends, let's go out. I'm talking, okay, I got 4 items on the agenda. Can we sit down like ladies and discuss this? That's what I normally ask. But nobody wants to talk. That's bad. And I'm the youngest one on this board, and I'm sitting here reaching out to y'all. Stop it.
Okay. Go ahead, Trustee Stubbs. Go ahead, Trustee Stubbs.
When you said, Trustee Henyard, that you had this committee for 5 years, that's untrue. Because you didn't think about anything when you, Brown, and who else sat up there? And Hunt. And you took it from me when I was the chairperson for housing, and this have absolutely nothing to do with that. I didn't open my mouth. I did not sit up here, say anything when you, Brown, and Hunt voted to take housing from myself. I worked with you, so therefore, you know, I don't know what the problem is, but my number is still the same. You can always call me. Thank you.
First of all, let's back up. We didn't take anything from you. I've always had housing, just like Hunt had financing. Everybody always had their strengths, period, when we came on this board. When we came on this board, the mayor gave me housing. He gave Hunt financing. Simple as that. So let's back up, since y'all want to talk about taking stuff from people. You don't remember when you 3 sat here and tried to recall my seat, remove me? Y'all think it's cool to sit here and make laws because that's what we do. You taking advantage of our duties as elected officials. You can't sit here and get mad at an individual and just say, I'm going to write a law and just write you out. You can't do that. I got elected by the people. I represent them out there, their voice, not you, because you mad at me today. Now you want to sit here and write something up. And just for the record, it's a title. I'm only speaking on it because y'all think y'all can do whatever y'all want to do because we make laws. But I'm not that upset about it, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to have my voice. I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to show up and show out for the people as I always have done. But at the end of the day, y'all wrong. Period. This is wrong.
Okay.
Can I be recognized, Mayor?
All right. Go ahead, Trustee.
So that I understand the change being made, Trustee Henyard will still be a part of that committee, if I understand it. She will be a, where's the police officer? She'll be a part of that committee if I...
Okay, so it's already been predetermined where the spot going to be.
We're still in discussion. Let me ask my question to get. I'm trying to get clarity on this.
Go ahead.
To bring down the emotion somewhat. My understanding of the planning committee is defined as following: the duties and responsibilities, matters relating to strategic, comprehensive, and capital improvement planning, housing, zoning, permits, building preservation / renovation, and new construction and seniors. The move tonight is to make Trustee Stubbs the chairperson, but wouldn't Trustee Henyard, and I believe it's also, who else is on that committee? And Pearson. So I believe that you would still be part of the committee, Trustee Henry. You're just not the chair.
No stuff.
Is that correct?
Let me say this, Trustee Muhammad. So it's already been predetermined before it's come to a vote that she's going to be removed and be a part of the committee. So since that's already been predetermined, and it's probably been predetermined how y'all gonna vote on this, I want to know, why is she being removed? What is the reason? What is the reason for this board removing her as a chairperson? And this is another thing when he took the power from me. I don't even have a choice in this matter as who can chair any of these committees.
Mayor, why do you say we took your power?
What do you call it? There's an ordinance in place. There's an ordinance in place that you passed. There's an ordinance in place.
Committees are decided by the board, not by ordinance. It's by law.
Madam Clerk, what did we review this morning?
Okay.
Up until 2016, the mayor had the power to appoint committee members and chairs.
Thank you.
In 2016, this board voted to transfer that power to itself.
Thank you. See, you vote on ordinances.
I'd like to see that.
You vote on ordinances that you don't even realize and remember that you vote on. But the matter of fact, I researched it this morning because it was on the agenda to take her power away like you did to me. Now, if it was my choice
Mayor,
today,
do you remember
if it was
all the ordinances you voted on?
If I did not remember it, I wouldn't be in there asking her about it. All I'm saying is that. All I'm saying is what you're doing to her tonight is what you've done to me in the past and currently. Secondly, me and Trustee Henry have had our differences across the aisle, and there's a few things I'd like her to change.
Vice versa.
You know? But tonight, and it may change next board meeting night, our differences or whatever, how we vote on them. But tonight, I think this is a travesty. I think it's disrespectful when she calls a meeting and you don't show up. And I understand your concern and your explanation, Trustee Pearson. But tonight is a clear demonstration of you fell out the group. You fell from grace. And we're gonna spank you for it.
Yeah, I'm not part
Mayor,
of
may I be recognized?
So I haven't heard it tonight yet. I haven't heard a reason for her removal.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Go ahead.
I would just like to say, and you absolutely right on one thing, that you did appoint the committees, and that was taken away from you by Trustee Henyard, Trustee Hunt, and Trustee Brown. You also appointed myself to the Housing Committee. And once Trustee Hunt, Henyard, and Brown did away with that, they appointed Trustee Henyard to the committee. And I have worked with Trustee Henyard the best of my ability, gave her my all. And I wasn't even going to say nothing about.
You want to do
excuse me.
Hey, Trustee, hang on. I want to finish. I want to finish hearing this.
Excuse me. And I wasn't even going to address when I called you on Sunday and told you that I was ill. I not only called you, I text you, and I called you again on Monday to let you know that I was ill, and I stated to you verbatim that you and Trustee Pearson, because I was unaware of his situation, that you and Trustee Pearson could carry on, that I wouldn't be able to make it. Now, I'm looking at the fees, and I'm outside every day talking to residents about the grass cutting. I also called in when I was chair, and I've even talked to you about doing the same thing, about having a meeting with the landlords, bringing them in, holding them accountable for their grass. Even though a landlord owned the property, they still are responsible for the place being maintained. And even if it's in their lease and they tell the landlord tell the tenant that they're responsible, that's true enough. But the landlord is actually responsible for his property. And we have been having numerous of complaints about tenants renting houses and their grass is not being cut. That's one of my issues that I have, that the landlords wasn't called in. Secondly, when it's not only that, this is one of the reasons why I would like to chair again this committee that you at Brown and Hunt saw fit to take away from me and put you back in it, that the mayor appointed me to at that time when we was talking.
Thank you, Trustee. I'm sorry.
I wasn't finished, Mayor.
All right.
Also, I would like to state about the fees. We came to you, you chewed us out about it's not coming to your committee about the fees. The fees they expire April the 30th. Also, you stated that you was going to have a committee meeting. Are you talking about committee meetings? And we was going to discuss the fees and going up on the fees. Well, permits have to send that information out in advance, so not only the store owners would know that the fees have went up and this is what we're expecting you to pay, but also the landlords, if you're going to go up on their fees for their housing permits and occupancy stickers and inspection stickers. This needs to go out way in advance. That didn't happen. So, you know, that's why I am accepting this chairman's seat, and if I get the votes. That's just two of the reasons why. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Yes, go ahead, Trustee House.
If I can, I think I would respectfully like to ask that we call a vote on this one. I think we know what the vote is. The residents know what the vote is. We have four or five employees here. I really want to get to the budget that are sitting here professionally. They've been committed to this community, they're loyal, and we're going to be voting on their careers. So I would like to see if we can hopefully push towards that.
I just wanted to have a short response. Thank you, Trustee House. Now, since it appears that this has been predetermined, when this decision was made, was there any violation of Open Meetings Act? Because we know how it's going to happen, and they've already said the fact that they're still going to leave her a member. But I don't think one of the four would admit to that. Secondly, Trustee Stubbs, when you brought up the fact that they took it from you, they voted. At that time, they were against me too. And as I said earlier, we've been across the aisle back and forth and everything, but tonight, I'm just going to say tonight, I support Trustee Henry remaining as a chairperson over the Planning Committee, and to address the fact that one of the things, the statements that you made in regards to the grass being not cut at such and such a, you voted, Trustee Stubbs, I'd like to remind you that you voted to get rid of Fathers and Blessings, who was cutting grass in this village, and then
Mayor, you need to pull the records.
Trustee Henry, I did not interrupt you, Trustee Stubbs.
Okay, but you're not telling the truth. There you go again.
I did not interrupt you, Trustee Stubbs. Okay, it's clear and it's evident that Fathers and Blessings were doing cleanups here and cutting grass here in the village of Dalton, and as far as I remember, I think you voted to get rid of them. So we can move on. We can move on.
You're incorrect.
I got one thing.
You're incorrect.
All right, thank you for your statement. Go ahead, Trustee Henry.
Okay. One thing that Trustee Stubbs pointed out was the fees. Now, when we had our fee structure, me and Trustee Pearson both agreed on the fees. She gave resistance because she have a unit, and we was increasing the per unit fee structure. Now, when we make laws, we don't supposed to make it to benefit ourselves. I have rental property in the village of Dalton. I was okay with increasing whatever fee we decided on, but she was not. So she got upset and said, "Nah, well, that's going to affect me." Okay, you got a 4 unit, so that means it need to be $50 and up. So right now it's at $35. It's only a $15 fee. I'm like, "But goddamn, you want me to give it to you out of my pocket?" Excuse me. Sorry for that outburst. But I'm just saying, it was minute. I put it to you like that. We can afford it. When you go into investments, you have to account for unforeseens. Unfortunately, if you're going to see another $100 at the end of the year, then you need to put it in a lease. Simple as that. So that was one of the issues that we did have with the fee structure. So I guess that's why she feels she can chair the meeting, so she can make sure it don't affect her.
Oh, wow. All right.
And then you can run the tape. It was on March 26th. Go look at the committee meeting. I ain't got to make nothing up here.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your comment, Trustee Henyard.
Anytime.
I think we've had enough discussion on this issue. It's already been predetermined on how the vote is going to go, I think.
Let's go.
And so, all right, no further discussion. Let's take the roll.
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Abstain.
Well, you know what abstain means, Ms.?
It's too much.
It goes with the majority.
Well, I can't deal with it. Let them do what they do.
Yeah, you got to pick a side, because they're going to go with the majority if you don't pick a side. It's either you want me to obtain my seat or you don't.
Hey, Trustee Denton, just for clarification, hold on out there, please. Trustee Denton, just for clarification, an abstain vote means yes. It means you go with the majority.
It does.
So by abstaining doesn't really do Trustee Henyard any good. So, you know, honestly, you be honest with you should make a decision here. Because,
I agree.
Okay.
Trustee Pearson. Trustee Henyard.
No.
Carries 4-2.
Okay. So
sorry, 3-2-1 abstain.
3-2-1 abstain. So it means that Trustee Henyard loses her chairmanship of the Housing Committee. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is Housing Fair Invest in Dalton. Trustee Stubbs. Trustee Stubbs?
Yes, I would like to make an announcement that on August 25th,
it is what it is.
12 to 2, there will be a housing fair at...
Hey, come on, please. Go ahead, Trustee Stubbs.
At 14200 from 12 to 2. And that's Zion Covenant Church. That's 14200 Chicago Road, August 25th from 12 to 2. We'll have many vendors there, U.S. Bank. So come on out on August 25th from 12 to 2 p.m.
All right, thank you.
Next on a Saturday. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is item H, dedication of fountain plaque by Trustee Stubbs.
Yes, last year we passed a resolution to dedicate the fountain that Mayor William Bill Shaw had built at no cost to the village. So we would like to dedicate that fountain on August the 31st, 2018, from 5 to 9 at the fountain. Please come out, bring your lawn chairs, and enjoy some good music, and meet your neighbors. That's August 31st, 2018, from 5 until 9 p.m. Thank you.
That's a Friday?
That's a Friday. Bring your grill.
Okay. Okay, next thing on the agenda. Well, you know what? What are we going to do with this ordinance thing? Because it's 11 o'clock at night. I would suggest that just suggest that we table it right now. And
It's not going to happen, Mayor.
Pardon me?
It's not going to happen, sir.
You hear that? Just remember, the election is close. Remember. We'll just remember that. The election is close. So anyway, what we're going to do first is we're going to give the mayor's report. I'm going to have a shot do that. Come on, shot. Secondly, we're going to give citizens' address. So those of you that would like to leave after citizens' address, you can do that. Those of you that like to stay until 1 o'clock till we go through line by line this appropriation budget, you can do that also. So, Rashad, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, clerk, trustees, and residents, also department heads. Several events. First, I want Media Director Edward Steve. We have a video that we want to show quickly. This is an example of some of the services that we've provided out of the mayor's office for some of our senior citizens here in the village of Dalton with regards to their senior exemptions. So if you could just be directed over to the okay, all right. Well, just to give you an overview, you know, how many of you all, you know, paid your taxes to Cook County as far as your house is concerned? There are some of you all who are seniors who are also eligible for an exemption. But there were many people here in the village of Dalton who actually were on a list and they hadn't actually applied to get the exemption. So they were going to miss out on some refunds and some money that they had. And so at the direction of Mayor Rogers, we reached out to those individuals, made sure to contact them and hosted them here at the village of Dalton. An attorney, a competent attorney, a private attorney, free of charge, pro bono. You know, it's not easy to get lawyers to do things for free. But he sat with the residents and helped them save quite a bit of money. So we are ready.
How much approximately?
$63,000 just that one day.
Attorney Mario Reed, and as a real estate attorney, he, you know, once I spoke with him, he was totally in favor of conducting some sort of a workshop or assist the residents in this. This is what he does. He's knowledgeable, and he decided to come in on a Saturday, and we wanted to get it done quickly because we wanted to make it by August 1st, which is the deadline.
$6,689.13. So your first installment was about $3,000. And it reflects that because your total tax bill is $94.55.67. And the reason why which is way higher because you forgot to apply for your homeowners and your senior again. And that's what we're going to take care of today. So we're going to have you fill out this, and you're going to take it to Mark on Monday morning, and they're going to slash this bill in half.
My name is George Aloshis. I've been a resident for Dalton for many years and attending the mayor's workshop on tax reduction. And I'd like to express my appreciation for the thoughtfulness and the efforts that this village has put forth to involve people that are deserving of a refund. Thank you.
My name's Bob Libby, and I got the letter inviting to the meeting today, and it had to do with real estate taxes, and I felt I had a problem with my real estate tax, so I came in and confirmed that I do.
I've been a resident of Dalton since 1995. I received a letter from the village about how to save on my property taxes, and I'm happy to say I've saved a lot of money. Oh, I should have said getting a refund back. Thank you.
I saved $3,500, and I am so blessed that I saved $3,500, and I found out it was by getting a letter through the mail.
And Mayor Rogers is really always concerned about the residents of the village of Dalton, especially our senior residents. And so this was naturally something that we wanted to do to inform them and make sure that they didn't miss this opportunity to save some money. So as a result of our efforts on that day, residents saved over $63,000 on their property taxes as a result of these exemptions that they possibly would have missed. In addition to that, there are some people who received the letter and they immediately called the assessor's office and called the treasurer's office and actually took care of it and applied for their exemptions and went down to the courthouse and made it happen. So I think we were very effective, and we're going to continue to inform the residents of these types of available exemptions. And if you have any questions, you can always call the mayor's office and we'll be glad to connect you with resources that can help.
Okay. So these are just some of the current events that are coming up. Of course, you know that Stepping at the Fountain was resumed 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Stepping at the Fountain was resumed. Stepping at the Fountain has resumed. When you are at Stepping at the Fountain, you know that it's summertime. We invite all of you all to come out every Wednesday at 5:30 to 9 o'clock p.m., 14014 Park Avenue. You're being invited to bring your lawn chairs, food, music, and fun. Last week, there was a threat of rain. It was raining. We didn't want anybody's equipment to get damaged, and we didn't want to take a chance of anyone getting hurt. But they're going to be back there next week. Everybody who came is excited. They'll be back there next week. Spread the word. Tell your friends to meet you at this week, yes, coming up 2 days from now, to meet them at the fountain. Okay, this Saturday, you know, a long-time tradition is Coffee with the Mayor. Those of you who have attended in the past, you know that there's vital information that's being delivered to you, sometimes information that you wouldn't be able to find out for free. You have seminars and things of that nature that you would probably have to pay for if you went to get that information in other areas. We've taught you how to make money, save money, and there are many other things that we have brought in. Well, this particular, again, at the insistence of Mayor Rogers, he was really interested in Medicare and said, find someone that can give you information about Medicare. Everyone is welcome to come. We have a specialist, Tom Perucci, Medicare specialist, who is going to answer any and all questions about Medicare. That will be Saturday, this coming Saturday, August 11th, 8:30 a.m. at the Dorchester. And we also have the following, we have a really, should we?
We've had advance notice of what's going to come in September.
Yeah, so it was confirmed that the Fritz Kagi will be at the September Coffee with the Mayor. So you know he is the Democratic elect for the Cook County Assessor. So hopefully you can make that, you know, place that in your schedule for the next 2 months. Coffee.
He is replacing Assessor Joe Berrios in that position. So if you got any questions in regards to the assessment of your property or tax issues, I would suggest that you make that meeting. Also, it's very important that a lot of our seniors that have answers about Medicare, Part A, Part B, a lot of people don't understand it. You need to come to this Coffee with the Mayor on Saturday, because you'll be able to answer all type of questions that may affect you in your care and what you're going to be responsible for if you have care in your build. So
yes, and Mr. Kagi's office also said they're willing to answer any questions. So I know you all have many questions about your property taxes, new systems, old systems, whatever's going on. So he's the one that you want to ask. So make sure you put that in your schedule. We also have coming up on the 17th of August, Mayor Riley Rogers invites the community to a camp out. Some of you all went to the camp out at Camp Shabona. It is a part of the forest preserves of Cook County. It's really a hidden gem right here, you know, just really about less than 5 minutes away. Last year it was nice when we went there.
Sold out last year.
It's sold out last year, but they've made improvements since then. So now it's even better. So it's free. We have some generous sponsorship from Appropriation here in Dalton.
Yes.
That's enabled us to provide this service to the residents, all ages, all camping levels. If if you're not the super camper who has all the supplies and everything, you can also come and you'll have fun. All ages, we have events for the children and
it's a great
others.
event to bring the kids out or grandkids out, especially get a small tent. There's tent areas where they can pitch their tents, and usually that Friday night, a lot of the other families, they get together, they sing, no drinking, but they sing, they cook hot dogs and marshmallows over the fire. So it's really a good family-orientated event.
And there are two other events that I asked Chief of Staff Elizabeth Scott to speak about. Of course, we have the Gospel Fest coming up on September 15th, and we also have the Thornridge High School Avid Color Run that we participate in every year. The mayor is a gold sponsor at Thornridge. Do you want to, or just announce it? Or okay. So many of you participated in the Gospel Fest over the last couple of years. It is not an easy event to put on, but it's worthwhile. Those who came out were filled with spirit and joy. For all those who came to listen to the singers and the praise dancers, it was really a wonderful afternoon of praise and upliftment and unity for those who decided to participate. It will be on Saturday, September 15th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Dalton Park staging area located at 147 Everett Street. Everyone is invited, and there are still spaces for vendors. So if you would like to be a vendor at the Gospel Fest, you can call 708-201-3348 and give them your information, okay? And the last thing, of course, is the Thornridge Avid Color Run. This is something that we always participate. It is for scholarships for young people who are going to college. This year's Color Run takes place on September 22nd, 2018. The check-in is at 8:30 a.m. and it starts at 10. Any of these events that are going on, if you have any questions or seek any knowledge about them, you can contact the mayor's office, myself, Ms. Evans, Chief of Staff Scott, and we'll be glad to help you and give you all the information that you need. And also thank you to all who have participated in the flea market. Saturday is the strongest day, but I've seen an uptick. We have some new people who are coming around. You can get some good things there, talk to some people, and have some fun. If there are no questions, thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Sean. I want to mention Mary Evans, also hidden back there in the corner. Mary is responsible for the collections of all the, Mary, tell them what you do. Mary is a big asset to our office also.
Good evening. I didn't know I was going to be put at the mic. But I am responsible for debt collection, debt recovery, among other things. I'm the one that you call if you get a ticket and you're not really responsible for it, or if your debt goes to collection and you don't understand why. I usually will contact the MCOA and find out what that ticket is for, and if you're not responsible for it, you will be refunded your money. So that's part of what I do in the mayor's office.
All right, now you're going to have 100 calls.
Well, if you're not responsible, I can help you, but if you are, I can just explain to you why.
And today, Mary and I had a conversation in regards to a complaint by a person who actually owed the debt, but thought that the method of recovery was improper in regards to the conversation that she had with the collector. So Mary addressed that today, and hopefully.
Right. The mayor was concerned about how the resident or the debtor was treated or spoken to by the collection agency, and so I contacted the owners of the collection agency to let them know that that was a problem, because the mayor did not want our residents to be treated that way. And she assured me that she would look to examine that tape to make sure that whoever calls gets respectful treatment. So we'll find out that tomorrow and rectify that.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm and not to make a threat to a collection company, and they have a job to do, and we're trying to collect our money, but you're just not going to speak to those and be disrespectful for those persons that's liable for those collections. So I think Mary did a great job today in conveying that to the collection agency. So, thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, you know, we're going to have the citizens address now. So anybody that want to address this body now, you know, we want to try to make it reasonable. I don't want to cut anybody off. It's usually 3 minutes. I don't really want to cut anybody off. I want to make it reasonable because we still have the budget to go through. But those of you that may want to express your concerns, you can do that now. And if you choose to attend and wait and participate in the budget, you can do that also. Ms. Wells, go ahead.
It's been a long night. I am extremely tired, but more so than anything, I'm extremely disappointed with this board. We have an agenda in which how many items were tabled? We're never going to move forward in this village if we don't stand together. You spend so much time fighting instead of trying to work on ways to trust one another. So much to fight decisiveness. And I can see the folks that are not paying attention. I am so tired I can't even think straight, but I am going to say this. I will not stay for this line item, although I want to, but I have a job to go to in the morning. So to be respectful of my own time, I'm going to leave. But I am very curious about one line item, and I mentioned it earlier. I will say this also. I don't think that the solution is to remove people from their jobs. That's not the solution. You got to come up with something else. And if you don't go back to the table to rethink these line items, it's not the solution. You don't just remove people from their jobs when you can possibly think of another way to do it. What else did I want to talk about? So much. I want to ask a question about one of the items that was voted against or tabled, the South Suburban Land Bank. I want to ask each of you that voted to table it, why? Starting with Trustee Muhammad, why did you vote to table that?
As you and I have had lengthy discussions, and if you don't mind, I can bring it public, the discussions.
If you can make it short, please. I want to know why, and I want the people to know why you voted against it. We chose to go in a different
direction with BP Capital. We felt that South Suburban Land Bank concentrated on more commercial properties, and as you know from the last meeting we had, it was based upon the person on the board that geared them toward commercial properties. We felt that we should go in the direction of developing residential properties. That's the bottom line, and as I told you before, I cast no aspersions on South Suburban Land Bank. We just went into a different direction. We had them for about, what, 2 or 3 years, and we chose to go somewhere else. That's basically a short answer.
Indefinitely.
Yes, and it was I did that indefinitely because not one time since we've been talking about BP Capital, South Suburban Land Bank, not one time did anybody invite South Suburban Land Bank here. Not one time have South Suburban Land Bank came up here and asked us to reconsider them. Not one time. Each time, every time that we have a board meeting, we discuss BP Capital, South Suburban Land Bank, but not one time have I seen BP Capital come up here and ask this board anything.
BP Capital?
I mean, South Suburban, excuse me, South Suburban Land Bank.
That's a simple phone call, but okay.
No. Because you all are advocating for them, then my thing of it is, well, how come they don't come, or how come they haven't been here? You all been doing this for, shoot, a couple of months now, but not one time did have any of you all invited them to the village hall, or have they volunteered to come to this village hall to say anything?
Well, the way they were treated when they were here, I wouldn't come back either, but
any way but respect. Number 2, 3. I'm going in a different direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee House, you voted to, okay. And Trustee Denton.
My logic on this is, let's try something different. I don't know nothing about South Suburban. Well, I know because I came and talked with you and Tiffany, and you gave me insight on it. But I haven't seen anything that they've done. I have seen what they've done with BP Capital, and I want to give somebody else a chance to do something, because what has been told to me, they had it as long as they did, and they didn't do a whole lot. They did a lot for corporate but for the homeowners, or if you think this is funny.
No, it's not funny. What's funny is the fact that they absolutely know how the land bank works. Absolutely they do. The land bank does exactly what they're asked to do. If they're not asked to do residential, then they don't do it. The concentration at the time may have been that, but I asked the question last time, has anyone reached out to them to ask them, can you move your direction to residential? Which to me, I'm sorry, it just makes me feel like something is not right here, and there is a personal agenda, and I said that. No one else said that to me. I'm not arguing with you, but this is too much. That's a governmental agency that does not charge us anything. If for any reason, why can they not coexist? You're resisting coexisting? They're not charging us a dime, and you keep saying BP Capital doesn't charge us. I challenge that. And I appreciate your answer, and I'm not trying to get outright with you because I'm tired. I really am. And I'm tired of hearing this same conversation. And if the question is having South Suburban Land Bank come back, they absolutely can, because I'm a stand on that position, because I think they are a better entity than BP Capital, and you know it. Trustee Pearson, why did you vote to table it?
I voted because I really didn't think South Suburban Land Bank was doing enough in the community with homes. They were doing the commercial properties, but mainly I decided to go with BP Capital, and because of the fact that they were going to they were going to work at putting home owners in where investors put renters.
Okay.
Now, I have nothing against renters, but that's our biggest problem in this community is people need to have a stake in the community. They need to have an investment in the community, because you get a lot of landlords that don't live here and they don't care. And they put anybody in a property, and it makes you need more police. It just makes crime worse. It does a lot. And I'm not saying that all renters are bad people. I'm saying people with a stake in the game is
and more vested. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
BP Capital was working at homeowners.
You know, as well.
I got you, and I agree with you. I absolutely agree that home ownership brings stability, and it possibly brings more investment. My challenge to all of you that disagree with that is to go back to the land bank, and you have a duty to this village to do that. You research one company, and I don't know how much research you did on them, because there is no history on them. In fact, I did my own. But I do have to say this, because I really am tired and I got to go home. In terms of voting Trustee Stubbs as committee chair and including Trustee Henyard as a committee member, got the same makeup, same dynamics. I really don't understand why this has to happen unless there's some more transparency that you all are saying to us tonight. Because it's apparent to me there's an agenda. I don't care what any of you all say. There's an agenda. Why do you need to be above housing? How much do you even know about housing? Is that your background? Please tell me, because I want to know.
I know a lot about housing.
Please tell me about it.
Okay. Because you have other people there, you can phone me, or I can phone you.
Okay. And tomorrow definitely.
Tomorrow, it would have to be tomorrow evening. Okay.
Okay.
Call me. I'm having
oral surgery tomorrow, so we'll talk on Wednesday for sure. I'm having oral surgery, so I know I'm not going to want to talk tomorrow, but Wednesday I will.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that all I hear? I'm going to let somebody else talk, because it is late.
Thank you. I'm going to say this in regards to the BP Capital issue and them wanting me to sign over the deeds to those properties. Now, I've spoken with a couple of people who are investors that say they gave BP Capital money. And that's not home ownership. That's a flip. And the second gentleman here behind Mr. Ted is going to tell you his involvement in history with BP Capital, and it wasn't with homeowners.
Can I just make one last comment, and I gotta go? I wish that when you guys go through these line items that you consider some of the voices that you heard from the audience out here tonight, the residents that sat here and listened to you go back and forth. Consider that, because we are the people that you're working for. This is not about you all. This is about what's best for this village. And I don't think it's best for this village to remove certain people in position that are making things happen and making changes happen. You all cannot do this self-serving stuff, and if that's not what you're doing, perception is 99.9% of what's true, and that's what I'm perceiving from all of you. Not all of you, I take it back, but from some of you, that you want this agenda to move your way, and you're not considering the people who pay the taxes here. And you pay taxes too, but the taxes are paid by these people that are sitting here along with myself. And I am going home. Have a great evening. I hope you vote your conscience and not just follow the devil you know. One of the residents here mentioned karma. So I'm just going to make this statement that the people here that vote to cause unemployment to some of these employees here for the village, that will put them in an unemployment line, guess what? In 7 to 9 months, you'll be able to unemploy some of these people that unemployed them. So, pay attention here. Pay attention here tonight. And if they don't hear you tonight, they'll certainly hear you on election day. Go ahead, Ted.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for calling me Mr. Ted. Earlier, when Trustee Muhammad read his legalese, he has some trouble reading it too. I'd like to ask the question, how many people up front, trustees, are lawyers? Anyone a lawyer? I know the lawyers who are up there, but they don't vote. And I was told a long time ago, if you're asked to sign something or vote on something that a lawyer wrote, consult a lawyer before you do anything. And I had, when the table to motion was made, I said, hey, that's good. Then table it, and then they'll be able to study it and vote on it some other time. But then the table to motion, or the motion to table, was passed, so it was tabled. So it wasn't tabled, and you voted on it. Now, I know that many other government agencies, the legislative branch, has rules where you can't vote on something unless it's been presented to the people who have to vote a certain period before the vote is taken so it can be studied. And then I asked for a parliamentarian question. Now, both those times, I just asked them out, the questions out. And the police officer said if I had another outburst like that, she would eject me from this meeting. So now I'd like to ask another question. How many of you really knew and were able to read and understand that motion that was made and constructed by an attorney? That's a question I'd like the trustees to answer. And did the way Mr. Muhammad read it, did he actually understand it? Now, can the parliamentarian answer my question? Does this body have any rules on how soon before the vote or how far before the vote something has to be given to the voters so they have time to digest it and look at it and assume its value.
No comment, Mr. Tidd.
I don't know what you're talking about. If I may, Mr. Mayor, I can only tell you, Mr. Vickers, that the board has passed an ordinance setting forth the committee of the whole, which I'm sure many of you have attended in the past, typically on the the third Monday of the month or the second meeting of the month when the board is in regular session, so that items that are to be voted on are considered at the committee of the whole and then voted on at the next regular board meeting. So there would be a discussion meeting and a regular voting meeting of those items. However, there are no rules that require the board to follow that procedure. It's at the board's option. So typically materials, I ask for materials from the trustees by Tuesday before the meeting, last Tuesday, and some of them I got and were sent to the trustees on Thursday, and much was not provided.
Was what Mr. Muhammad presented at that time?
No, I believe I made copies of that this evening.
That's what I thought I saw, but, you know, I'm getting old and my eyes sometimes deceive me, so I just wanted to make sure.
All right. Like the mayor already alluded to, my topic is about BP Capital. Y'all want the long version or the short version? I'm trying to get out of here too. The truth though, in 2016, I came across some money from two of my relatives passing away, and I vowed that I'll do the right thing with the money. Bought a couple of cribs in Harvey, I was doing fine. Then my real estate agent introduced me into his friend, Don Meadows. So that was on Halloween. And 2 days later, they were sweating me for the check. I didn't even have enough chance. I didn't have enough time to consult a lawyer, nothing. It was like, where you at? So, I wrote them the check in 2 days with some properties out in Markham, Illinois. And it's been 2 years and I ain't got not one deed yet. And it's been hell ever since. I've got no cooperation at all from Markham. And Markham just feels so sorry for me. And they telling me that I need to get my money back. And if anything, come to them and ask to buy the properties from them or something like that.
Now, we had a discussion in regards to this. Just tell them how much you gave BP Capital.
I don't even want to say it, but it was enough to buy a brand new Cadillac Escalade.
No, I saw the check. Why don't you just tell them? Just be straight. Tell them how much you gave them and you didn't get anything. You didn't get anything.
I'm embarrassed,
Okay, $80,000. $80,000. That's the history for BP Capital. $80,000.
That was my life savings, basically. And I feel like raising in the son, when the son inherited the money, then he done, come on. But it's been 2 years and people will be like, so why didn't you say something earlier? And I'm sitting at home watching a public access channel when I seen a board meeting and I heard BP Capital. So I'm like, oh, well, at least they somebody for real. But I could never come up here and give a testimony because I didn't know either way. Have I been bamboozled or is this just the process? But it's been 2 years. And every time I text them every single day and it's okay tomorrow. Okay, we working on. Okay, we finna do this. Oh, but it's 2 years.
It's 3 years. I think that I looked at the date on the check. It was 2015.
16.
But the deed, something was signed in 2015. The demolition lien, I think it was.
Contracts or something like that. And I'm a citizen adult, and I'm watching the public access channel and seeing their name on the flyers like, wait a minute, wait. I know people that won't let $100 slide, let alone what he just told y'all what I gave up.
Certified check for $80,000. So that's another reason to consider another source of development for these properties.
Well, I feel your pain, and I hope that this board will reconsider getting rid of BP Capital off of what you just stated. They got to listen to the residents. You are a Dalton resident, and someone walked away with $80,000 of your money. So if that ain't nothing to look at, they need to really reevaluate what we do up here, because I don't want that to happen to any other resident in the village of Dalton. So sorry for your loss, but if anything we could do to help, I'm all in.
And I'm gonna say this: the Trustee Henry voted for BP Capital, but since then has did the research and found the fact that you know, in regards to reparability, seems to be lacking. Thanks, Mr. Dorsey.
Welcome.
Good evening. Come as a resident tonight. I'm gonna talk to a lady I used to call Mama. Trustee Stubbs, look at me when I'm talking to you, please. Don't act like you don't ignore me, because I have a lot to tell about you. And you know, we used to sit in your room, in your house, and you know how you came against you because I said, why are you in the bed with Muhammad? Why are you in the bed with Pearson? Mama, what's the outcome? What did you tell me? What did you tell me? I asked you about BP Capital. Why would you take an organization out because you said they were ran by who? Forgive my language. Racist slurs against the ethnical group that they need to get out of here because they're doing nothing. And I told you they do more for me than any of you. But yet, I want to know, BP Capital. Then, Trustee, I love you. I came to you from my heart, sweetie, when we got out here for you and pushed my tail off of y'all and prayed that y'all would do the right thing. And you sit up here. You the angel of this book. I didn't hold nothing against you, but you sit up here. And you know that woman dirty. I used to listen to her talk about Joyce Myers, the Bible, all that. Trustee Denton, I just want the truth here tonight. I'm coming as a resident and I'm coming as a homeowner. I have nothing else to say but the truth. I always talk help, but I'm sick of it. Because we pouring our souls out here. We giving our all. And y'all sitting up here playing with us like it's nothing. You letting that woman tell you, say it's okay. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. And you sit in the back zone. That woman don't run nobody. She stepped out her body and she's not acting right. I just want to know one thing. If you're giving BP Capital 600 houses and we in $1 million deficit, right? Let's just say we charge what? Let's just say we charge $2,000 per house. Ain't that a good investment for anybody? $2,000, $4,000. That gives us $1.5 million that we just say we'll give it away, or we'll pay trustees, or we'll pay their lawyers. You know what, y'all? It's a shame, but ain't nothing we can do. That's why you can sit up there, Muhammad, so cool, so relaxed, bro. It ain't nothing we can do. We messed up. We trusted you. I messed up, but I won't do it again. But I can tell you what, y'all all live in Dalton, right? I have 20 people outside of your house every day protesting until you leave this land.
That's a threat.
Good evening, everybody. I won't be long, but I would like to say one thing. I have the old saying say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That was wrong what you all did to Trustee Hinton. I can say for myself, she go all out.
Thank you.
Over, beyond. She goes all out. Anything you call her and ask her to do, she will help you. Now, I don't see no reason. You ain't going to get nobody to run the house better than Trustee Hinton. And number one is, everybody up there should think for themselves. Don't let nobody dictate to you what you do. Everybody looking at Muhammad, waiting for him to tell him what to do. That is not what we voted you in there for. Let everybody sit on their own bottom. The board is messed up because the blind cannot lead the blind, and they're trying to do it. So when the next election? I'm going to wear out one pair of gym shoes and put on another one.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
Wow, wow, wow. Whew. How y'all doing? Board, mayor, trustees, residents of Dalton. I came up here to speak a couple of things. I'm not a resident of Dalton, but it's a lot of concerns I'm a contractor for Dalton. Been a couple years. I'm one of the grass contractors, DNT. When y'all couldn't afford us last year, we had a meeting with I call her Tiffany. And she spoke with, I think Muhammad was there, Pearson was there. But 3 trustees couldn't be in the room, so one left. I think Pearson left. And we spoke. And they were like, Dean, what can we do to keep your company and the other companies here? Because they got rid of fatherly blessings. And I'm like, well, Tiff, you know, I don't mind doing free work because I work for a lot of villages. And, but she's like, no, we don't want you to do nothing for free. Can we agree on a certain amount? And the amount was real low, but I have so much business, I'm willing to give back because I got family in Dalton. So I said, okay, Tiff, I can do it. So we came to agreement, 2 contractors, me and L'Oreal, for a certain amount. We had a budget. Each month we can't go over that budget. I never went over the budget. If I did went over budget, it's a charity. Like it's a lady on Chicago Road right now, 95 years old in Dalton. She got a couple of tickets for grass. I cut it for free. I told the village, don't bill her. She's 95 years old. So just go, my guys cut it, and they ain't charge the village. But the point is, Tiff do a lot for the village. And them getting rid of her, I mean, at this point, me and Pierce had words at the last board meeting. You know, so I might not be here next year. But I guarantee you, when we get our new trustees on the board, I'll be back. Because it's a lot of things I see. I'm a commissioner somewhere. I'm not going to say where I'm at. But South Land Bank do us justice where we at. And like that lady said, the only thing you pick up a phone and say, hey, we want you to focus on residential, commercial. I guarantee you they do it. I promise they do it. They do good for us. We don't got no problems with them. But I just had to come up here and speak because it just bothers me to see the board argue like this. Just like we in another village or city, I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what city, and they do the same thing. We're supposed to get along. Where I'm at, we all get along on our board. And Tiff, you know what I'm saying, I hope they do keep on the board. But if any residents need me in Dawson, once they fire me, I know they don't fire me, but if they need me, I got you. It's no problem, I promise. I don't even care about the contract no more because that's hurtful what they did to you. I'm serious. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, and it's been a long night, and my auntie and uncle sent me as I grew up out here, so I remember, you know, it always was a saying, it takes a village, and to see, you know, black people broke up like this. Conyers, Georgia was like this at one point. And black people got together. Now you can't buy a house in Conyers, Georgia under $1 million. I know because I own one. So my auntie specifically set me up here with my brother to tell y'all as residents of Dalton. She's been out here 60 years. She like, look, I need you to go up there and tell them people, stop playing with us. I need you to go up there and tell them people, stop allowing the stalling of houses being invested in this community because our money is being lost. They're not invested as heavy as we being invested in because we on our way out. So we need to make sure that this goes on to the next family member. I'm the next family member. So Trustee Muhammad and the other 3 that keep voting for BP Capital. I don't understand, and the young brother just left. He said 428 properties at 10K is 4.2 million, and at 15K is 6.4 million. And y'all trying to sue the mayor so y'all people can get the properties for free. I don't understand. Y'all were voted in by the people of Dalton. So why aren't y'all fighting to get him to sell the properties to BP Capital? If BP Capital should bring some capital to Dalton, Illinois to buy property. Y'all arguing over stuff in its property here. It's money in this village. Y'all shouldn't be giving away anything. My auntie specifically told me to come up here and say, don't give nobody nothing for free when we had to buy our houses. Didn't nobody give us nothing free. So if you're losing money in the city, it's because y'all trying to sue somebody, y'all trying to sue this man, the mayor, to give y'all people the property for free. And just in case y'all don't know what just happened, they just monopolized housing in Dalton, Illinois by putting her over housing because she votes for the 4. So now they ain't got to do nothing. They don't have to have no argument. Once they sue the mayor and the mayor loses that, now all the property has to be signed off immediately to BP Capital. Now BP Capital becomes strong. This happens everywhere. Would it happen in the city? It don't happen in the city. It happened in Conja, Georgia. We sued everybody on the board, and if y'all not careful, the Fed's gonna be in here. FBI, IRS. So I don't know what y'all doing, but y'all giving away the source of the fund of money in this village right now. Y'all arguing with the mayor about giving away properties free. I have never in my life heard anything like that. So I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know how far, but mayor, fight, fight, fight. The rest of the trustees, y'all were voted in by the people. Trustees, somebody we can trust. I don't know what y'all doing. I don't have a. I was about to leave, and my auntie called me and said, "I don't see you on the camera, son. Where you at?" So I hate that this happened to this young sister. I just met her, and I hate that happened. But what y'all doing is putting her on the committee to do the same thing y'all doing right now to keep voting out. I'm not gonna hold y'all, but BP Capital has to invest in this village. They say they got capital. Prove it.
Right. Right.
We, allow some other investors to come into to the village to invest in this property. Allow the residents to buy homes in this property. It happened in Conja, Georgia, and it can happen in Dalton, Illinois. I don't really have nothing to say. Good luck.
And, some of the properties that they've taken are properties that need very little renovation. They're not taking the properties that's been abandoned for 10 or 15 years that we really need to get rid of. They're taking the recently foreclosed houses that people have lost, unfortunately, and they're putting a lower amount of money to do the rehab. I mean, the minimum amount of money to do the rehab to sell these houses, and these houses are going to sell for over $100,000.
Yeah, or more.
Over $100,000. Now, and I'm going to say this, and we're happy of this. We're happy about this. That here's an article in Crane's magazine talking about Dalton.
Yes, it is.
And the young lady mentioned earlier, and she's left since then. She said she was real estate invested, and property values are going down. Absolutely not. Crane's is a national magazine.
Yes, it is.
And they're actually saying here, put your money in Dalton.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the highest return at any of these south suburbs here. So that's why BP Capital is here. Why shouldn't we enjoy some of the wealth that they're getting ready to enjoy in?
That's right.
And if you take 10 houses that you sell for over $100,000, that's $1 million. Easy. That's $1 million. So why shouldn't we, or why should we, to say, okay, BP Capital, go ahead and get rich?
That's right.
Because at our insistence, at our being deprived. But here's the other part. And just as the gentleman said, we give the property to BP Capital, and then we wipe out all the water bills that were owed for those properties, and then we wipe out all the tickets that was issued for those properties, and guess who has to pay the water bill?
The city.
So we're talking about not just giving the property away, we're talking about wiping out all the delinquencies on those properties. Where do we value from this? And you're talking about, well, it gets back on the tax rolls. 2 years from now, when they have cultivated millions of dollars, and you're talking about carte blanche giving all the abandoned properties, all the abandoned properties to one developer. Why can't you take some of these dilapidated houses that we boarded up and we have to keep boarding up and squatters move into them and raccoons and stuff like that? Those are the ones we got problems with. Why can't you take them houses? Not one. Not one. And I want to get you a list of the 18 properties that they want title to. And I want you to drive by those properties and take a look at them. They're the cream of the crop of the abandoned properties of the list that they got.
Mr. Mayor, I want to ask also, why isn't there a public list of how many abandoned properties in Dalton, Illinois, and why isn't that list privy to every resident in Dalton? We don't know how many properties are abandoned. We don't know. It's a lot of older people out here that are letting their taxes go because they're in their later years. There's no assistance for that. And people like BP Capital get on people like that and they take their property. And we got people calling every day because my auntie always got something to say, so she always calling me. I'm letting you know right now, auntie, you always calling. So she telling me, listen, go out there, listen to, and she right, I'm upset. As a future resident of Dalton, I ain't going. September, y'all gonna have to run of y'all life because we got some people gonna run. Brother, you get ready. I promise y'all. We from Chicago. We vote people in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Naomi LaPresto, and I'm the person that keep texting you and you don't answer. And I'm the person that keep calling you. You're the person that I keep calling, you never answer. I text you, you don't answer. So that's why I said to you, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I ask you to stop giving out your number if you're not going to answer people. Okay?
Okay, well, I apologize if I didn't answer or respond to you.
Okay. Next of all, I wanted to find about levy. If we weren't giving the money to the water to Chicago, how would that money have been used?
It's been used for the general fund.
And when you say general funds?
It's been used as, see, when we came into the office, all the funds was commingled.
Okay.
So whatever came in went out to pay different stuff and special activities and things like that. Now, one of the things that I thought that had happened, and we had discussed this with our old village manager, was to segregate accounts. Money comes in for the water, goes in the water account, and we pay our water bill with that, and the bill is with the city of Chicago. Comes in for sewage, goes in that account, comes in for tickets, goes in that account. So ideally, we should have separate accounts for everything and use the money that we've collected for the payment of certain items that that should be paid for.
So why would you take money for tickets and get it from the Dorchester? Dorchester has always been a headache.
Yeah. And going back a little bit, two of the things that when I came into office I wanted to address, that was the Melanie Fitness Center and the Dorchester. Our two biggest assets, but also our two biggest liabilities. And we had a substantial offer for the Dorchester.
I know.
And it was voted down by the board.
I know.
And today, it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it. And today, we've practically given the Dorchester away.
Yes, I know.
And in maintaining that Dorchester, it wasn't self-supportive, maintaining that Dorchester, and you heard the attorney say tonight what it costs to maintain a Dorchester and the Melody Fitness Center.
And we're going to do the same thing with the Melody. It's going to keep on traveling until it's going to get in somebody else's hand. And I think it's going to be Zion.
Yes.
I hate to say that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's leading towards Zion. And they have just about everything. And they're going to get everything because that's what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
My next question is, why is it that when I get my water bill has only about 4 numbers on it? Mm-hmm. Why I don't have a complete reading? Why is it that I cannot compare from the last reading to the next reading?
I don't know. I can't. Janice, please. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think to take the last 4 numbers.
No, it's not the last four. Can't be the last four numbers.
Okay. Janice, there's a question here. Maybe you can
And
answer.
my bill is still estimated. And I paid $150 to have a box put outside my home so that when someone come to do the reading, they can automatically see what the reading is.
Right.
There's no way I should be receiving an estimated reading.
You're exactly right. You know, I'm going to say that I'm not sure what zone you're in.
And that's another thing. Why?
Let me ask the first one.
People need to be educated as to. Wait a minute, Mayor. People need to be educated as to what a zone is.
Okay.
And what time, and what month, or what year, or what time that zone is going to be actually dealt with.
Okay.
You could tell me anything. I'm a layman. You guys may be understanding that, but I don't understand what a zone is and when it's going to be affecting.
You just asked me about 5 questions.
Yes.
I hope I can remember them all. That's why I wanted to stop you at the first one.
Okay.
Okay. And that's why I called Janice out. Janice is very familiar with what's going on, and so is Pat here. But to say this, and I'm not sure what district you're in and why you continue to get the estimated bill, but we just had a termination of a water department employee that was responsible for reading meters, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Janice, for the last 2 reading periods of that district, he had no readings, and estimated bills had to go out. And I'm not sure if that you were in the district that was affected.
It was 667 Ann Street.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure, and I didn't want you to give your address out.
Oh, that's okay. Visit me anytime.
Yeah, but at any rate, you know, we can find out if you get with Janice exactly what went on and what happened. Okay. What was the next question? You wanted to get educated on
the zones. Someone, and I want to ask.
And I said zones, but they call them districts.
Okay.
So they can also give you the time and when those districts are read and when the bills should go out.
Would that be at the next meeting?
No, we can do it. We don't have to wait till the next meeting.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, we don't have to wait till the next meeting. If you want to come in tomorrow,
no,
or next day, whenever, call Janice or whatever you want to do. Whether you want to come in physically or call on the phone, she can give you an explanation of that. Now, what was the next question?
Oh, I don't even remember. Why is it I have this box outside and you're not reading it? I mean, you told me because somebody misread it. And another thing, why did you hire a water person, someone else to do the water, take care of the water for us? And I never did get the full understanding as to what was the purpose of hiring that person.
I don't understand your question.
Okay, there was someone that you hired that was supposed to deal with the water.
Yeah, a director in the water department, yes.
Okay, so why can't we get it privatized so somebody can actually handle
Let me
the
tell you
water?
something. I just had a meeting with a company that wants to buy our water system.
I don't really see why not, because you can't get the billing right.
Now,
that's okay. I'd rather for it to go a whole 2-3 years to get it together, and then after you don't need them anymore, and you can put people in that can actually learn. They don't know what they're doing.
So any rate, when you want to privatize the water system, they're looking for long-term contracts, like 30, 50 years.
Okay.
And if you go in that route, sure, we can get a lot of money up front because, you know, like they sold the Skyway in the city of Chicago. So the Skyway and privatize it on I think it was a 90-year or 100-year contract. The fees for the Skyway went from $2 to $5.
Okay, so why wouldn't we hire someone from Chicago to come in and get our billings, help us get our billing together?
So let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
You suggested hiring a private company to maintain our water system or sell our water system. You think your rates are high now? You can count on it and bet on it. They would either double or triple.
I understand that too.
Because they're going to have to find a way to recover that money that they pay us for the water, the privatization. Now, getting back to rates also, we're one of the lowest villages in the south suburbs in regards to water rates. And I'm going to say every town has a problem or issue with water. Every town. Don't think there's a bunch of Cadillac towns out there that don't have issues with water. it's a big issue because there's only a certain amount of towns or municipalities that actually sell water to these smaller villages. In our case, it's the city of Chicago. So, at any rate, you know, to expedite things a little bit quicker, I'm going to refer you to Janice.
Okay.
And she can help you.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Before she told me, if that's the problem as far as the trying to privatize, could you see in the future maybe you can get someone from Chicago that is more educated about how to run the system or get the system to work? Could you hire that person, or could you get that person to?
I can't hire anybody.
Oh. Well, will the trustees take that into consideration due to the fact that we actually need to get the money together? You know, Mayor, I was so upset. I didn't want to pay you $351.
You didn't pay me.
I didn't want to pay City of Dalton $351.
Yeah.
Because I was so upset because I'm concerned because I don't know what part of my bill is estimated so far.
Yeah.
For a while, it looked like you were just putting A's on there just to say it was actual.
Well, you know, some of the residents have received estimated bills for so long, and I want a accurate reading. I want to physically read, and they go out and they read it, and the bill is much more than what they were estimated at because.
But if you put the right numbers down, sir, if you put down what the actual reading on a meter is, I think that'll be much better than putting 4 numbers down. I don't know what number that's from. I don't even know what it's actually saying.
I agree with you because. As Trustee Mohammed said earlier, as far as the water bills have been uncollected and what's outstanding there, one of my proposals is that we go to monthly water billing, because what it does is it allows the village to get their receivables quicker, and it's more manageable for the resident. If you get a quarterly bill, we only collect 4 times a year.
Right.
4 times a year. So if just like your light bill or your gas bill, if you're using, say, $300 in a quarter, and just say you can't pay for that quarter, so it's $300 outstanding. So now you get the next quarter, another 3 months down the road, now it's $600. And if you can't pay the $300, you're certainly not going to pay the $600. What's wrong with, if you're averaging $300 a quarter, what's wrong with getting a $100 bill every month? And then when it comes to the second month, it's more likely that you're going to pay the $200 or the delinquent amount of $100 than it is more likely for you to pay the $300 or 6 months down the road the $600. So, you know, my thought process is that it's costing us money not to be able to collect our money quicker. So in essence, the village is financing all the outstanding water bills that are out there for it to be collected 4 times a year. So, you know, I think the board needs to consider whatever we need to put in place to make it more manageable for the residents and to make it more instantaneously for us to collect what's outstanding would be a much better solution for the village and the residents.
So can I call Ms. Stubbs about my tree?
You have to ask Ms. Stubbs about that.
Stubbs, can I call you about my tree? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, get Janice's number before you leave tonight, and she can help you out with. Yes, sir.
Good evening, or good midnight, as close as it is. My name is Marlo Kemp. I am actually looking to become a resident of Dalton. I have a finance background, and so I have been listening with interest to your conversations around the budget. First, I would like to say to the mayor that actually going to monthly water billing would be a good idea for both the village and the residents. One of the biggest things that I have seen is that sometimes people get leaks, and if you wait for 3 months to allow a leak to continue, all of a sudden the bill is astronomically high, and then you have residents who can't pay it, it's very difficult, they're going back and forth. And here's the thing is that when that does happen, you all are actually, Dalton has already paid for the water. And so now you're hoping that 3 months later you get a lump sum of money back. That is very difficult to, it's very difficult to manage for some residents. So if you can go to monthly water billing, that would be a great benefit to the residents here. Now, the other thing is, I'll say this, people say about money that it is a good servant, but a very bad master. And what I mean by that is, once your money takes control of you, you're on a downward slope that it is very difficult to recover from, right? It's kind of easy to stop a snowball that is at the top of the hill. It's a lot more difficult to stop a snowball that's heading down the bottom, because all of a sudden the problems begin to escalate. You know, I've heard a lot of the back and forth, and I know a lot of people are here saying, you know, here's the things that you have to do, and these cuts and everything are really tough, and they are. But the thing is, you all are facing a fiscal crisis, and there's only two ways to resolve it. One is to say, you know what, we're going to have to make some very tough decisions in regards to what we're going to do with the money we have, right? You know, if I have $10 can buy a movie ticket, $10 can buy a McDonald's meal. It can't buy both. So I have to choose whether or not I'm going to go hungry and watch a good movie, or whether I'm going to miss a movie and get something to eat. So the thing is, when you have a limited amount of resources, you have to make priorities and say, you know what, this is all I have, and even though I wish I could do everything, even though I wish I could do everything with money that I want to do, this is the limited amount I do have. There is nobody here, I would think, who would rather spend a cold winter in Illinois rather than spending 3 months in Hawaii. But if you don't have the money, you know what? Those 3 months in Hawaii just have to wait, and you have to make do with what you have, right? So that's option one. The other option, and this is no matter where people say the money is coming from, or they say what we can do or what we can spend, that money is coming from everybody sitting in this audience. It's coming from you, the taxpayer, because you, the taxpayer, are the ones who have to, so that $8 million that Dalton owes Chicago is $8 million that you owe Chicago, because it's going to come from you. There is this mythical village of Dalton is basically somebody who is a steward of your taxpayer dollars. And so when they say Dalton owes $8 million, it's the residents of Dalton that owes $8 million. You know, the power of a government to tax has got to be one of the most awesome powers anybody could ever have, because a guy can rob me once of $5,000 and get away, but the government gets to take my money legally every single year, and they get to take yours every single year. And so everybody up here, you know, all of the folks, the elected officials up here, owe you, the taxpayer, an explanation of how they're going to spend your money. And right now, times are difficult all over. And the thing is, you can't continue to dig yourself in a hole that you ultimately will not get out of. I mean, so the thing is that you know, I hear about the Melanie and the Dorchester. All of those things have to be able to support themselves without general fund monies. If they can't, then that's telling you that these are not places where government needs to play. Because if you have to continue funneling money into these different entities, then that's less money that you can spend on police protection. That's less money than you could spend on public works, right? That $8 million that is gone, that now has to come back out of the general fund. And if they issue a bond for it, that still comes from you. It just comes from your children or the future residents of Dalton. And now that starts to impact whether people want to come here to live. So what I'm saying is, it is actually time. I mean, and this is just not for Dalton governments, because governments all over are experiencing the same thing. The thing is, there are tough decisions to be made, when you have money from the state that isn't coming, you have money from the federal government that's being tightened up, that means that you're going to have to learn how to live within our own means, because if we don't, eventually somebody else will come in. You know, if you don't control your money's going to control you. And that means that, you know, instead of you being able to say what I want to cut, somebody's just going to say your money's gone. And now you're forced to do stuff.
Mr. Kemp, thank you for your comment.
You're welcome.
And I want to get to these two residents here. Thank you. Please.
Good evening, residents and mayor. I still didn't get a full explanation of why Ms. Henyard was removed from housing. Can anybody tell us why? For what reason? I mean, come on, guys. Can't you give us an answer, at least one answer, please, to something? I mean, there had to be a reason she was removed. I mean,
because they want to put her on the committee.
Well, I can assume a lot of things, but I want them to tell me why was she removed.
It looks like you're being ignored right now.
Well, you know, I really don't think that's right. That the trustees ignore residents' questions. You know, they answer when they want to. They don't answer when they don't want to. It's just like, I don't care. I'm a trustee. I can do whatever I want to. That is not right of you guys. We voted you in. We voted you in because we trusted you. We thought you was going to be good for this village. That's why we voted you in. You know, and you cannot, as a taxpayer and a resident of Dalton, you just going to ignore my question and not even answer me? I mean, even if you got to make something up, it'll be fine with me. I wouldn't know. So you just rather sit there and ignore me.
Diane, excuse me. It doesn't look like we're getting anywhere. You want to ask another question?
Well, I answer it because I exposed them.
Well,
you know, I'm against BP Capital, and the minute I got to talking about that, now they put on the agenda to remove me as chair. Other than that, what did I do? Nothing.
Well, I kind of figured that's what it was, Tiffany, but I just wanted to hear from, from them. You know, I just wanted to hear, you know, because it seems like we have no say-so over anything that's done in this village. We got one person that's actually running the village and 3 people that are actually voting and going along with whatever this person says. And that's not fair to us as residents, because you're like the young lady said, you're not working on our behalf. Everything you do is personal. It's for your own personal good. And if you ask me about BP Capital, I believe somebody's getting some money.
It ain't the village.
Ain't you, ain't me?
Mr. Ted.
I hope this comes out right. It's way past my bedtime.
Yeah.
Usually I take a nap from 8 to 10, and when I wake up at 10, I go to bed and sleep until 8 the next morning.
Yeah.
Is there a trustee who's in charge of the water department? You know, the trustees have different spheres that they're...
Committees over there. Let's see.
Pardon me?
Let me see. I think it's Trustee Stubbs.
The mic's not on. I can't hear.
I'm not in charge of the water department. I'm the chairperson for the committee for the water department.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of questions. I was sitting under the big tree in front of my house. Didn't have a mint julep that I was sipping on, so I think I saw what I saw. There was someone in a yellow vest walking across the street, knocking on doors or ringing bells. Some people let him in, some didn't. When he got opposite where I was, I went over and I talked to him, and I said, well, what are you doing, even though I knew what he was doing. He was trying to get access to read the water meter in the house. So I went over to him and I asked him, he told me, and I said, well, when you're finished with this house, come over to my house. I want to talk to you for a minute. He said, okay. He came over to my house and I said, well, and it was springtime. I said, do you know what these blue paint stripes across the sidewalk mean? And he said, no. I said, well, the water company comes around, or the water department comes around and does that every year, every spring. And if you look, there's a circle, if it's in concrete, of your buffalo box, and the blue stripe of paint is where the water service enters the house. And he said, this is my house, and look at that corner of the house, and what do you see on the driveway side? He said, oh, I see this little box. I said, did anyone ever tell you to look for those little boxes? He said, no, I have no idea what that is. And I said, that is the remote meter for the house, and you can read the water meter setting right there. You don't have to go in the house if that is on the outside of the house. And that way you might be able to read a few more houses during the day. You don't have to wait for someone to let you in, to take you in the house, and to show you. And then I told him, now put that down as my meter reading. You don't have to come into that. And he did. And then 2 weeks later, when I got the water bill, what kind of a bill do you think I received?
Estimated.
Estimated. Okay, so people are billed estimated bills that are less than their regular bill. Then they get a catch-up, and they say, oh, I only pay $120. Why do I have a $300 or $400 bill now? And then they can't pay that, so they have to make time payments. But as we learned earlier, the village can't say, oh, we just want to make time payments, let's agree to something. It's a legal matter. It's due from the village. So the village has to pay the Chicago water bill whether the money has come into the village or not. Do you think that's good management?
No, that's why I would like to go to monthly billing. Monthly billing will, like I said, speed up our receivables, and it will make it more manageable for the resident. You know, and it's going to be a little cost to go to monthly billing, and we're going to have to do the monthly bills every month. But it's far more manageable, and it's far more economical for us to do that, to receive the money quicker.
And those would be remote readings, so you know exactly what the meter says, correct?
Should be. You know, when I was in the city of Chicago a long time ago, you know, Chicago's bills was absolute. I was getting a $60 water bill. I think it was every 6 months. I think it was. I don't remember. And what they did was, there was a lot of houses that was not, did not have meters and did not have any way to record the usage. So I got a letter that said, if you don't let us in your house, we're going to turn your water off. So, you know, one of the things that we should do is, if we can, put remote readers out. But the other thing that we're doing is that we didn't qualify for the remote read on the meters, and we're eligible again. There were some discrepancies in the data that was provided to the IEPA, and basically what we would like to do is go to satellite readings of the meters, which would require all the meters to be replaced, and it would get a more accurate reading than if you went actually physical to go do it, or if you could not get into the residents to get an accurate reading. Now, one of the big issues here too is that there are a number of residents, whether it's by design or other, that they don't let the meter readers in intentionally, so they can continue to get an estimated bill at a lower rate. So
Well, at one time, I know they had these yellow postcards.
Right.
Where the homeowner could read the meter, write it on, and send it to the water company.
That's only if they comply and read the meter and send it in. So, you know, they can get the card all they want, but if they don't put it down and get it to the water department, you know, that's another issue. Now, Mr. Tia, can I ask you to, and no, this is your second time you've been up.
I'm finished.
Okay. Ms. Creighton, so we can get through this budget. We still had a budget to go through.
I agree. Mayor, trustees, and to the citizens of Dalton. Trustee Pearson wanted to hear the proposals that Chief Collins was going to present because I'd been here this long, so I felt it was unfair that I not hear. And I'm willing to sit here as long as it takes because we came to hear about, and we're going to address the budget, correct? I wanted to hear the suggestions that Chief Collins had on hiring more police officers or bringing more services to the village of Dalton's citizens. And I also wanted to, this question is addressing the mayor and the trustees. On Saturday, I was at the Park District, Dalton Park District, doing face painting that we do every year. We donate to the park. And there was a young lady that came over to the table where parents were sitting, residents were sitting, waiting for their children's faces to be painted. And they had a petition. I was very disheartened by what she said the petition was for. But I'd like to also this evening ask the attorney, in order to put a referendum on the ballot, is there a cost to us?
No.
There's no cost whatsoever?
No, because the elections are administered by the county.
Okay.
So all the costs associated with printing a ballot, adding items to the ballot are absorbed by the county as part of their function. Once, whether it's a candidate's petition or referendum petition is filed with the local clerk, the clerk's job is to pass it on to the county, and the county does all that.
So it's no cost additional because of that process? Pardon me? Excuse me, so there's no cost to us whatsoever because it is an official election already, correct?
Yeah, it's in conjunction with the gubernatorial election.
Right. Yep. So my question and concern to the mayor is that what was the petition really about?
Did you read the petition?
No, Mayor, I didn't want to read the petition because you know what excuse me, I didn't want to read the petition because, you know what, as long as I've lived in this village and I've gone to other municipalities as well as school board, it just needs to be fair straight across the board. I think I heard some mention here this evening it was to lessen the number of trustees.
Okay, let me say. I
don't know.
I wasn't going to comment on this, but since you brought it up.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to say that referendums are put on ballots all the time.
I know that. I'm just trying to find out about the cost.
So, you know, the way the current situation, the board sits and talk about the amount of debt we're in, and we need to, you know, save some revenue or gain some revenue. And since the board, the four have decided to give these houses away to BP Capital where we're not getting any revenue, I said, well, you know, let me think about this. You know, we've got a lot of discontent on the board, and you heard many of the residents tonight talk about unity and getting things done. And you also heard tonight about the amount of debt that we're in, and we need to try to figure out a way to create revenue and or watch our spending. You heard Mr. Kemp get up here and say, hey, you can't, and you heard Trustee Muhammad, you can't spend what you don't have. So there are you're allowed to put 3 questions on a ballot.
Okay.
No more than 3 for a referendum. So we decided to I'm quite frank with you. I decided to put 3 questions on the ballot.
Okay.
And in order to get those questions on the ballot, you have to go out to the voters and ask them to sign petitions. In this particular case, we needed 520 signatures to put these referendum questions on the ballot. And I've had a conversation with attorneys prior to us doing this in regards to legality, cost, and when we should do it and how we should do it. So, the deadline for filing a referendum was today. And in conversation with legal counsel, we decided that the best way to do it was to do it starting on Friday evening, on the weekend, not show our hand what we were going to do, and not get out there too early and have somebody stop us. So we decided to put it out Friday at 5 o'clock. We had 2 days to collect signatures and file it with the clerk this morning. The referendum requires 520 votes based upon 8% of the previous gubernatorial race,
Okay.
which equates to the 520. We gathered close to 1,000 signatures
Okay.
this weekend. Now, our anticipation is that, will this be challenged? Probably. But we feel by going door to door with poll sheets of accurate residents that are registered to vote, we've got enough signatures here to be sustained where it will go on the ballot for the gubernatorial race in November. And the 3 questions, since you asked it, was the first question: shall candidates for the president, clerk, and trustee of the Village of Dalton be elected at a nonpartisan general election with no primary election, beginning with the consolidated general election to be held on April 2nd. What that means is that, there's only about 6 or 7 towns or villages in Cook County that have primaries. One of them is Dalton's. Out of all the elections of all these villages and municipalities, there's only 6 that has primaries. What that does is it costs the county over $100,000 to have a primary election, because you got to pay the election judges, you got to put voting machines out, things like that. So what we thought is, especially with a trustee race without a mayor, was going to be a low turnout, that we only require our residents to come out one time and vote. On occasions like this, where there's no major election, where there's going to be low turnout, why bring the residents out twice? Because some residents say, well, I didn't think that I had to vote in the primary, or I voted in the primary, why do I have to go back 8 weeks later and vote again? So we putting this on the ballot and asking the residents, are they satisfied, or do they want to just have one election, or they want to continue to have a primary election where they have to come out twice? Second question is, shall the Board of Trustees of the Village of Dalton be comprised of 4 members rather than 6, with all 4 trustees to be elected beginning at the consolidated general election held on April 2nd? Now, they talk about saving money. 2 trustees, if we reduce this board by 2 trustees, automatically saves $200,000 over a 4-year term. They get paid $25,000 a year, times 4, that's $100,000 per trustee. Now, also, most of the trustees up here have insurance by the village. Now, depending on what type of insurance you have, it can be as high as $30,000 premium, which they pay no premium for the insurance. It could be as high as $30,000 a year per trustee to be insured by this village that costs the residents. Now, if you take 4 years at $30,000, that's $120,000, one trustee. So you take an additional trustee at the same rate, that's $240,000. Now you add $240,000 plus a $200,000 salary, we're talking about saving this village close to $500,000. And not only the savings of the $500,000, but let me tell you this, it's going to bring some accord and unity to this village.
How is that going to happen?
Pardon me?
How is that going to happen?
Because we're going to elect some people that's about the business, they take the consideration of the residents right here. So, and if that doesn't happen, the village still saves $500,000.
Also, Mayor.
Now, I'm going to say, let me finish because you asked me to explain it.
Oh, I'm listening,
Let me finish. The same thing was done in Country Club Hills where there were 10 aldermen, and it was cut down to 5, and it saved $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm. And we're saying going from 6 to 4.
Yes.
And would that give you a controlling factor as far as the votes is concerned?
How does it give me a controlling factor when there's still 4 trustees?
Excuse me, I am thinking, and that's why I made the statement.
Yeah. How is it giving me the controlling factor when there's still 4 trustees, and the 4 trustees right here vote unanimously?
I understand that, but
so it doesn't give me a controlling factor.
But what I'm asking you, Mayor, that if you cut down the number, by you having 4 trustees, say that vote called for, you know how you sometimes get the opportunity to vote, and a negative, right?
What do you mean a negative?
When you get a chance to say what does the mayor say? Aye. If it comes to that count, does that help with your voting process?
No, because on situations where there has to be a unanimous vote, like it's tonight, we had the wireless facility vote that was mandated by the state. You need a unanimous vote to do that. That board voted that way. So in those situations, it's still going to be the same. Just as today, if we took these 2 trustees that never get a chance to go along with the other 4, same thing. It's the same thing. But even if the board is in the same position that it's in today, that votes against me, that want to leave the situation today where I don't have any power or anything, it still saves the village $500,000. Now you want to talk about we don't have any money, we can't figure out a way to generate any revenue. Why not save $500,000? If we're going to fight,
then why don't we eliminate everybody? Excuse me, there can be a referendum also. That was a conversation before.
Put it on the board.
Exactly.
Put
it on the ballot.
I'm sorry. Get your petitions out.
Exactly.
And put it out there. However, you won't be able to do it for this race because
I know. I know that because it was a conversation before.
Yeah.
And
so
also,
let me talk about the third one.
Okay.
The third one is shall the terms of office of village trustee for Village of Dalton be limited to such that no person may serve more than 2 consecutive 4-year terms. Now this is just like the president. They can only serve 2 terms.
That's right.
Okay. Now I'm going to say this. Even though we got these 1,000 signatures, we are pretty assured that this is going to be on the referendum, be on the ballot as a referendum. Now, the signatures that we got were the signatures to place it on the ballot.
Correct.
This does
That's
not.
what she said.
This does not have them to vote on these particular items until when they vote yes or no on these items.
Yes.
It's going to be the majority.
Right.
It's either majority yes or it's majority no. And then from that point on, whatever it is, if it's no, it will not appear on the April ballot. If it's yes,
then it will appear.
It will appear on the April ballot. And correct me if I'm wrong, John. Okay. It will appear on the ballot. And how do people vote on it? Because ultimately, the people have the right in the decision making on who sits up here.
That's
and whether or not they want 4 people sitting up here to save $500,000, or they want 6 people up here spending that $500,000 that's going to be, fighting, arguing, stuff like that. So in thinking about this and putting this out here like this and asking people to sign for it, I think that there is a consensus that the people want better government and want to save money, and they want the opportunity again to put the right people up here.
Well, my concern was on Saturday that the ladies that were approached, they didn't understand what it was about.
Yeah.
So I was very upset
that the petition was going around, and I don't think it just started then. I think I heard some rumor about it several meetings ago. But here's my next question.
Let me answer that.
Yes.
If you heard rumors about it, it wasn't from us.
Okay.
Because there was 3 people that knew about this. Me and 2 attorneys. Okay? And it was, you know why? Because we didn't want any leaks.
I understand.
We didn't want any leaks. That's why we started at 5 o'clock on Friday night. We knew it was a heck of a task to get those many signatures in 2 days. But what it is a testament of these residents said, I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of this crap. Why should we spend an extra $500,000 and still go through this crap? So even if we, you know, if that's the sentiment of the voters when they come to the polling places, so be it.
It's up to the voters. My next question, someone made mention of the Dorchester funds. Have we finished receiving the balance of the Dorchester funds?
As far as I know, no.
I think we've mentioned before the total price was 2.6. We've received 2, and the last $600,000 we're working through an agreement dealing with water billing going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a draft of an agreement out to them. Hopefully we'll get this thing handled in the next month or so.
Okay, because you guys told me when I asked the question before that it would be, we would receive the final, all that money's in June.
Yeah, we've had disagreements with them, and we've gone back and forth in negotiations.
So is there a set date or no?
Not yet, because we haven't signed this final agreement yet, but the drafts are going back and forth.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to say to every trustee up there that my trust is in you because I voted on you, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. I understand the legalistic of the 4 votes. I understand that under parliamentary rules of order and under governance rules that you're doing what you have to do. So until the next election, you are, and I'm hoping, praying that you're making, all of you are making the best decision. And I am for the invest in Dalton, and I'll just hold on to that.
All right, Ms. Crazy, and just for your clarification and information, we asked permission to circulate the petitions on park property.
No,
and we
Cleo said that it was fine, but
right.
My thing was that, you know.
Yeah. So before we even start circulating that, we asked permission. We got permission to do that.
Good morning, good evening. I'm Robert Hunt.
Good morning.
I picked a great meeting to come to. This is probably a very long meeting.
You're used to those. You know, we had them.
Well, one question I do have, wanted to get the opinions of the other trustees and the mayor. One of the questions on the referendum is that it's term limits for everyone but the mayor and the clerk. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to get an understanding, how do the trustees feel about that? Try and get just an explanation. Why did you put term limits on everyone but yourself and the clerk? What's the rationale for that? And that's it. I mean, I really didn't want to get up, but then when you started explaining, you brought it up.
Yeah.
That's because I don't know.
Well, you know, I've seen how some of the trustees have done things to benefit themselves. So when I decided to run for mayor, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I thought I could help the village of Dalton, and I thought that, and I'll be honest with you, both terms you was on the ticket. The current trustees now have been on the ticket, and I haven't had the support after y'all got elected. So I decided to let the residents decide if it should be term limits. Now, if someone chooses to put a referendum on the ballot in April and say, you know what, this term the mayor and this term the clerk, I'm good with that. Because ultimately, who's going to decide that are the residents. You know, so if the residents say, Mayor, we tired of you, We ain't voting you back in. I'm good with that. I can go retire somewhere and I ain't got to stay up at night and get them phone calls and stuff like that. I'm good with that, you know, because ultimately that's who we serve. This ain't my seat, and I've said it before. It's your seat. And the residents, the registered voters that choose to take an interest and are concerned about their village, they make the determination as to who sit here. And just for your information, I think that by passing those referendums out and the number of signatures that we got in 2 days is a testament, again, I'm going to say this, to how the residents really feel here. Because if we had a week to do petitions, I'm telling you, we would have 3,000 signatures.
But just the history, you did this before last time. I think you had about 300 valid signatures when you did that to recall me, Tiffany. So yeah. we seen this before. I hope you didn't hire the same people again to get the same signature.
We didn't hire.
The last time you had three. I already know who you hired.
We didn't hire anybody, and let me tell you this. The residents spoke and they put you out of office. Okay? So all your hopes, they should be...
No, I'm just saying the petition, you last time you said you had the valid signatures. You said that last time when you tried to do the recall, and you had about 300 valid signatures, and I think you turned in about 1,300.
I'm saying...
So I wanted...
I'm saying this, is that we know we got the valid signatures now.
Okay.
And if I recall, last time when you put all those untruthful statements out, I was making $134,000 a year and all that other stuff. You know, you survived that recall, but you didn't survive the important election. So I hope that answers your question.
And then the other part was, how do the trustees feel about that? The current mayor is putting term limits on your seat. Do you think that's good, or?
I didn't put term limits on. I didn't put term limits. Well, the residents are going to decide that. I didn't put it. I just asked them the question.
Okay. You purposely exclude yourself but put term limits on everyone else but yourself.
I did not put term limits on them. The residents will decide it. I just put the question out there.
I know. You put the question out that there be term limits on everyone except for your seat. Is that the way you want me to word it?
No, it's not everyone but my seat, because the clerk
I'm sorry, your seat and the clerk's seat. You put term limits on. You put a question out there for residents to put term limits on every seat but yourself and the clerk. Now, my question is now to the other trustees: if you let them get an opportunity to speak, how do they feel about that?
Well, yeah, I'll address this if nobody wants to say nothing, but I think if he gonna put it for one, it should have went for all. So if you're gonna put term limits on myself, because that's how I took it, because I'm the one that will have 2 terms. The mayor will have 2 terms as well, so he should have added his stuff included, and so will Mary Kay. But currently he just went after the trustees. So I have a problem with it, but I don't, because all they're gonna do is just push me to run for mayor, because I can't run for trustee again. So either way, you know, with me, it doesn't matter.
But we know, you know, what's good about the democratic process is that anybody can run for anything, you know, unless there's some restrictions in regards to, you know, your felon or different things like that. And I know Trustee Henry has aspirations to be the mayor, and that's great.
Not really. I'm really gonna run for some county, but okay, okay, but, since you want me to.
Yeah, that's great, you know, but ultimately, you know, in some cases, it's a popularity contest, but ultimately, it's up to the residents to decide who they want to see. You know, whatever it is. You know, we got the Me Too movement moving forward. A lot of women are getting elected and different things like that. You know, and things are done in regards to kind of fads. You know, this time it could be women. The next time it could be, you know, a different party or something like that. But you make the decision, and you have to get to the polls and make that decision. So,
well, I'll chime in too, Trustee. The mayor and I did speak on this after the petitions were out. I was in disagreement with term limits in general. So my thought is the term limit is the election decides it. However, as the mayor pointed out, it is up to the residents. So the question's out there, the residents will make the decision.
And see, the other thing is fact that if these pass, if the residents say yes, all these trustees on this board is going to have to run again in April. Okay? So some of the trustees, they got a 4-year term, voted in for a 4-year term, they got to run again. And you will get a chance to make a decision on some of the trustees that have been won election and you get, it's kind of like taking a second look in midterm. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Trustee Henry is a popular trustee. Mm-hmm. She's the eldest trustee here, and we've had our fights. And I mentioned this earlier, that I still don't agree with some of the things that she's voted on, and likewise with me. Mm-hmm. But we have 2 newly trustees here, Trustee Denton, Trustee House. I fully support Trustee House. When I put a slate together for the election, he's going to be on it. And he's going to get reelected because the people like him. You know? So all we need to do...
I don't have any... I'm going to sit down.
Okay, thank you. All we need to...
Any other trustee you want to chime in and they thought it was fair?
Thank you for cutting me off, Trustee.
Anyone else want to chime in on that?
So at any rate, he's going... you know, I think he's a trustee of conscience and tries to do the right thing. And since he's been here, he hasn't always voted with me.
Yes, he has.
He has not. He has not. He has not always voted with me, and we can pull it up. And because we talked about it, and he voted his conscience.
Right.
You know, so I'm supporting Trustee. I'm supporting Trustee House. If it comes that, if the people want it to be that way, he's got my full support. Pat.
Okay, I just had a question. Under new business, item F, Mayor, is that an item that can be vetoed? We'll take a mayor's veto?
New business, which one?
F, committee chair change.
No. Now I'm going to say here tonight, and I've talked to the attorney already, there's a number of items on this agenda that they voted against. I'm going to veto.
Okay.
And they probably override my veto.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. Elizabeth and Ashad and Ed are not going to be fired tomorrow. It's going to go through the veto process. And let it take its course.
Mm-hmm. Just make sure F's in that veto, okay?
Pardon me?
Just make sure F is in that veto, okay?
F, he said it can't be vetoed.
It can't. Attorney Murphy.
Make sure F is in that veto.
He said it cannot be vetoed. The attorney said it cannot be vetoed. Now what you can do, and it probably get voted down.
Reconsideration.
Not just reconsideration, giving the power back to the mayor to appoint the committee chairs. You know it ain't gonna fly, but you can put it on there.
You only got 2, Mayor.
Now, let me say this, and I'm doing this, saying this in your behalf. You can put it on the agenda. You know where it's gonna happen, but it's on the record that it was voted that way again. So,
well,
you can think about it. Go ahead, Pat.
The trustees, I'd like to think that you have listened to what the citizens have said tonight, and we've been pretty vocal about a lot of things going on, and this is a big issue that we take exception to. So rethink whatever brought this decision on. Trustee Stubbs indicated what her problem was with it. Who is the other person who sits on that committee?
Trustee Pearson.
Trustee Pearson. Okay, and I think you briefly said something about how you felt about it. But if it's 3 people on the committee, you already have your 2 votes. So when you have these committee meetings and things are on the agenda to discuss or things to do, if the chairperson doesn't do it, then why don't one of the other of you do it, look into whatever it is that you were supposed to look into and bring it back in to discuss it all together. So it just appears that 1 and 2 already know what the final solution is going to be, so therefore you don't have to talk to the chair. That's the appearance that it gives to us. So I want you to reconsider that. Trustee Denton, you're on the radar now. So I want you, and I know you're a fair person, vote your conscience. You know, if this is something that can be rescinded, because it's certainly not going to go away, we're going to figure out some kind of way to bring it back up again. And to end, Trustee Muhammad, on the July 16th meeting, you said something to our clerk that was very inappropriate. You also said something this evening that was inappropriate. And it has been talked about, maybe you didn't hear about it, but villagers, our neighbors, we talk about it. And you know what it was, and I think you owe her
I don't
an
know
apology.
what it was. You got to tell me what I said.
You said to her, I am the mayor pro tem. You, in essence, do what I tell you to do and go and do whatever it is that she was supposed to have done. I think she was trying to explain to you, because it was citizens' address, and was trying to tell you not to get into bringing up new items during the address. And you said, you started and you said, I am the mayor pro tem.
Okay, let me answer that for you. That's not what was said. She was reminding me that it was citizens' address. That is absolutely true. But not once have you heard her interrupt the mayor when he's interrupted citizens' address.
That's not true. That's not true.
And the reason why she hasn't interrupted him, because it's political, which is
That's
fine.
not true.
But let me be clear.
She interrupts me all the time.
Just like now. So I won't go back and forth with the mayor. But what I'm telling you that is not what was said. And the mayor will interrupt, and he's fine to do that, but I'm not going to go back and forth.
Okay. And saying that, if you didn't think that we heard it, then why did you respond so harshly? Because I thought it was just a snap, something that just snapped because you thought maybe she was trying to embarrass you. So I was sitting in the front, and I didn't hear exactly what happened, but when I went back and I looked at that tape over and over and over, and as people were talking about it, that's where it came up. This is what she said, and I think as parliamentarian, she was just trying to bring you back to the right track, and I have heard her do the same thing to the mayor.
Well,
okay, and then when you spoke to her this evening and she asked you, did you have a copy for everyone, and your reply was something like, well, no, I don't. You go copy it. So.
All right, can I answer that? Because you started being inappropriate with the clerk. That was your word.
Right.
I was never inappropriate with the clerk. Just so you're aware, that council had printed up that ordinance, and I assumed that council had sent it to her like they normally do when we create an ordinance or a resolution. So I assumed, I had a copy of it. There was no problem with her getting that, but that's her position, is to copy the record for us to have. That's
it's in the presentation.
That's not inappropriate to have the clerk to make a copy of a public record.
It's in the presentation.
I disagree with you that it was inappropriate, so we can just agree to disagree.
We can.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, to clarify this, it wasn't our council, it was the council they hired. And I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think it was a last minute thing, because the budget was already sent out by the finance director, and which was approved by the finance chair, Trustee Muhammad. But I'm going to say this. This budget, this amended proposed budget, is a direct response to those petitions that happened over the weekend. This is what directly responds, because why couldn't we get it last Friday? But you know what? They heard the footsteps. So now I'm really mad, so we're going to get rid of the mayor's staff. And we're going to disguise it as like we're going to get rid of 2 local laborers, and we're going to get rid of the mayor's appointments, the public works superintendent and public works supervisor. And you know what? To make it even look a little better, we're going to throw the 1 clerk in there. If you look at the budget amendment that he's proposed, is it's five of my appointments. And they tried to do this without the disguise of the others before, and the village attorney warned them there's going to be litigation just like you brought, Trustee Muhammad, against the village, and you was awarded close to $100,000. He was awarded more money than the other two people that the board fired because they thought his case was aggravated, because they voted against him where he could not even volunteer at the media center. So he was awarded more money than the other two people that were fired. And for you to turn around and try to do the same thing to these people and talk about it's not political, come on. You worried about saving money? This is what's going to cause litigation. If that concludes the citizens' address. Okay, this is the last one. And then we got to get to this. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We'll probably be here till 3 o'clock.
And I know I can talk loud.
Yeah.
Bring up what Pat just
Go to the mic, Louise.
And I wasn't even going to say anything. But Trustee Muhammad, you won't even respect anybody enough to say that you're sorry. You did say that to Clerk Dugan. You don't even acknowledge her as Madam Clerk. This lady says trustee to everybody. Yes, and I don't care if you don't like a person, you respect the position. That's what you want everybody to do, is respect your position. At least with the people that you have here right now. Tell the lady that you're sorry, because you did say it, and you did say it tonight.
Clerk Dugan, I apologize to you.
If you don't say it if you don't mean it. But you do everybody like that. You've been that way all the time.
Inappropriate language that was used.
You have been that way all the time. You don't respect women. I bet you that. I can see that you don't respect women. And I wasn't even going to say anything, but that I had to say it because you refused to say you're sorry. Now you're saying it because you're forced to say it. And there's no reason for you all to get rid of her and her committee. And you know what? If you do that, if I was her, I wouldn't be on the committee with you because she's got demoted. I wouldn't be on a position if I'm going to be demoted. I would not. Don't take it. If they want this rescinded, don't stay on that committee. That's ridiculous. And Elizabeth, you all are going to really pay for all of this. I don't know what kind of thoughts you had about it. I don't know how you did it, but you all are going to be sorry for getting rid of certain people. You're going to be sorry about that. That's the way he's looking at me. They're going to be sorry. They're going to be sorry. Yeah, they're going to be sorry. They're going to be sorry. You're right. That's so wrong. I'm so tired. That's so wrong.
Okay, that's the last of the comments for the citizens' address. Now, I guess we have to go back to new business, item A, ordinance number 18-010.
Can we have a break?
A break? Please.
1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, God, where they do this at?
Yeah, they voted. Yeah, right. Shit. All right, we tried to table this.
Where we at?
And we were outvoted just for the sake of the time, you know. And as earlier mentioned, that Trustee Muhammad said he want to go line by line.
Can we reconsider the table?
It's a lot of lines.
No, please. Can we reconsider the table? It's 1 o'clock in the morning, board. Like, come on. I know y'all got an agenda. It still can be taken care of. What, it's 48 hours, I think, to post?
You know, my suggestion is that, you know, this should be done with the assistance of the finance director here. She's not here. If we can reconsider the table it for now, hold a special meeting so we can have some additional comments from the public.
Exactly.
And
when everybody woke
and then go line by line. If you want to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then leave at 10, that's fine. But I mean, we're not going to get out of here till 3 o'clock
exactly.
after. So, Trustee Denton, if you would.
Is my mic on? Okay. In consideration of the time, I feel this needs the utmost attention. It needs to be looked at line by line. It needs to explain why this was done the way it was. It was not done in 2 days. We did not come up with this overnight. When he put his petitions out, decided that this is what we're going to do. This takes time and effort and understanding. And you got to have a heart to do this. Trust. It's not something you just do. So in my opinion, and people are going to be mad, I'm sorry, I feel we should redo this at another time, possibly Friday, early, so that everybody can digest it, can understand what was done on here and why it was done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so what, you need a motion to table to Friday?
But now we have to have a motion, and it has to be seconded, and it has to be voted on. So, you know, Trustee Denton, I'm going to say you couldn't have said it any finer, but, you know, people got to go to work tomorrow. They've been here. We've been here since 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. So, okay, can we get a motion? Trustee House, did you mention something about a motion?
I motioned it.
Or Trustee Henyard motioned it, Trustee House seconded for reconsider of tabling this to a better, more convenient time for us and for the residents. Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. God, thanks.
Trustee Muhammad.
No.
Trustee Stubbs.
No.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
No.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Home.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. I asked for a motion to adjourn. Okay, Trustee House made the motion.
Second.
Can we decide on a date when this can be done?
Yeah, we can decide now. I'm ready. What day y'all want?
Yeah, let's talk to Yvonne, you know, Trustee Denton. Let's talk to Yvonne, and then it can actually be put out as a special meeting with notice, and at an earlier time where, you know, the residents can come out, and in case it takes a long time. All right, we need a vote here. We need a vote here. There's two motions. There's two motions on the floor. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Quiet, please.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
We already did the roll call on the motion to table, which passed. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, there's been a motion to adjourn. Trustee House motion, Henyard second. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs. Aye. Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned. Thanks.